alive or hacked to pieces by troops, with torture and forced displacement being common. South Sudan became an independent state in 2011 and has loudly been endorsed by the U.S. ever since, with officials talking up a special relationship with the South Sudanese people. The nation quickly fell into civil war, however, and an increasingly bloody one.
For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports the head of the Washington, D.C.-based Center on Higher Education Reform, part of the American Enterprise Institute, said the crisis rhetoric surrounding student loans is overblown, and the mounting student debt just means more people are going to college and potentially adding to the national economy. Andrew Kelly said the $1.3 trillion in unpaid student loan debt that is looming large over the country may not bring the gloom and doom some economists have predicted. He told CNBC's Power Lunch it is too soon to tell if outstanding student loans will hinder further economic recovery. Student loan borrowers have been calling for reform to the education loan system as the percentage of borrowers who are 90 days or more delinquent in payments or are in default hit 11.6%. Borrowers have called on lawmakers to make changes to the system, including lowering college costs. There have been incremental changes on a local level, but little has been done at the federal level. Many are looking to the presidential candidates to alter the course of college financing. Kelly said the number of borrowers, some 43 million people, is not the problem. Instead, the problem stems from borrowers who never finish their degree and struggle to repay their loans. Kelly said they're not the people with six-figure debts that you hear about in the front page of the New York Times. They tend to be people who have very low debts who drop out before ever earning a degree.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerary supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.
Reuters reports an Ohio judge ruled on Friday that teenagers celebrating their 18th birthday before the November elections are entitled to have their votes for presidential nominee counted in next week's state primary. 9 teenagers from across the state claimed in a lawsuit this week that Husted's interpretation of state law that eliminated their voting rights was incorrect. The judge said his decision affected potentially thousands of other 17-year-old voters still eager to participate at next week's presidential primary. He said no Secretary of State between 1981 and 2012 had ever adopted the reading of state law he was now overturning. Husted in December modified the state's election manual to say 17-year-olds are allowed only to nominate candidates but are prohibited from voting for presidential delegates because they are elected, not nominated, according to the lawsuit. The teenager argued Husted's interpretation contradicts state law and a previous ruling by the state Supreme Court that allows 17-year-olds who will be 18 by the election to vote in the primaries. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The American robin heralds the beginning of spring in temperate climates across North America. Its red breast makes it easily identifiable as the most disturbingly efficient murderer in the animal kingdom. Here, we see a robin rip a worm out of the ground with no moral hesitation whatsoever. This atrocity is but one in a series of cold-blooded murders this bird will commit in a single day. Although feces-fueled worms are themselves one of the most disgusting of all animals, the robin's cruelty remains indefensible. Some apologists might argue that robins need to eat worms to survive, but worms are capable of regeneration. So robins could satiate themselves on fractions of individual worms and leave the rest. But it does not. Unequivocal evidence of the robin's bloodlust.
This is the Onion News Network. Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Join us right here if you want. You may take control of the airwaves and bring up whatever happens to be on your mind. On this live Saturday edition with you in the studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And to start things out here tonight, Infowars.com has a story about apparently a declassified document that was released in January of this year by the FBI and their Office of Partner Engagement, which is the agency's primary liaison for the law enforcement community. And this document is basically suggesting that public school workers, teachers, and administrators need to be on the lookout. Let me give you some more details here from InfoWars and, author Kurt Nimmo. Quote, high school students are ideal targets for recruitment by violent extremists seeking support for their radical ideologies, foreign fighter networks, or conducting acts of targeted violence within our borders. High schools must remain vigilant in educating their students about catalysts that drive violent extremism and the potential consequences of embracing extremist belief, states an unclassified document, which, again, was just released recently.
High school students are being radicalized? Is that what the notion here is?
Yeah, well, I mean, we've seen the stories of there was one guy who was arrested, I think he was like 19. He was arrested going to the Chicago airport, attempting to fly over to the Middle East with the intention, supposedly, of joining ISIS.
Yeah.
So
okay.
The idea being, just like, you know how the military targets young people.
They do. I mean, the military recruitment is prolific, ubiquitous throughout high schools. So I suppose that, there's some level of recruitment going on for the other military inside of high schools, too. I guess it's possible.
The document claims public school educators, quote, are in a unique position to affect change, impart affirmative messaging, or facilitate intervention activities, including informing on students. It calls for, quote, observing and assessing concerning behaviors and communications of students who are embracing extremist ideologies.
With the tens of millions, and I'm just guessing the number of people that are in government schools here, but with the tens of millions of kids that are in government schools, if teachers begin reporting kids for suspicious behavior, the chances of them actually catching somebody who's going to be radicalized in their net is pretty slim. I mean, I don't know how many people have been radicalized that are in government schools and high schools, but it seems like the numbers are, in the single digits. So out of tens of millions, your chances are very slim. Your chances are literally 1 in a million of being right.
Well, they're going to be keeping a lookout for certain telltale signs of what students might be saying to reveal their domestic extremism possibilities, because it's not just about foreign terrorist organizations. The FBI says they're also targeting domestic violent extremism movements, including anti-government groups. According to the FBI, quote, some adults embrace domestic violent extremist ideologies, and their beliefs can permeate family norms, oftentimes influencing their children. This dynamic fosters biases leading to hatred and intolerance and drives the need for action, unquote. And the FBI and federal and local law enforcement groups categorize many libertarian, constitutionalists, and other groups and individuals as so-called sovereign citizens. According to an FBI counterterrorism analysis, which was released back in 2011, sovereign citizens, quote, may refer to themselves as constitutionalists or freemen, which is not necessarily a connection to a specific group, but rather an indication that they are free from government control. Now, we wouldn't want people to start thinking that way now, would we?
Yeah, that's for government control. I in some ways, I want people to be under government control, right? Like, I don't want them to hurt people. I don't want them to steal.
The government doesn't prevent people from hurting people, though, do they?
I think that there's, to some extent, the existence of law enforcement dissuades some people from using violence to solve their problems. Right? I mean, it's
perhaps
the idea of a larger, more violent organization lording over everyone is kind of the whole premise of keeping people in line.
I suppose you could argue that it would dissuade someone who was plotting in advance, but in the heat of the moment, I don't know if government's really stopping very much heat-of-the-moment violence. You know what I mean?
I don't know the answer. It seems unlikely. Maybe it is. I don't know the answer. On the other hand, the whole idea of government control is it's a little scary. It seems like they just make more laws to make more crimes to fill more jails is kind of where it seems like it's going.
Filled them full of people who haven't actually hurt anyone. The crimes you're talking about that they're making laws about tend to be victimless crimes, like possessing drugs or something like that.
That's true. If they, the war on drugs has far-reaching effects.
The FBI considers the redemption theory, which is the abandonment of the gold standard in favor of fiat currency, emancipation, quote, from the responsibilities of being a U.S. citizen, including paying taxes, and conspiracy theories, including the formation of a global government and a police state, as indicators of extremist or sovereign citizen ideology.
Well, if people think there's a police state, then that's, isn't that a thought crime? I mean, isn't that what they're suggesting here? Is this just a list of thought crimes?
Yes, this is a list of thought crimes that could get you put on a list of people who are thinking about crimes or whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean, I got to say that if you have some of these thoughts, I wonder why you're sending your kid to public school in the first place.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there. Whether it's your idea of independence for individuals or states, or whether you want to just grow some marijuana. We had a story not too long ago about an 8-year-old who inadvertently rolled on his I think the equivalent of his stepfather, his step-boyfriend or whatever. And the dude ended up getting arrested, just some guy growing some marijuana, not hurting anybody else, but he had told his 8-year-old stepson person that this was a medicine, that he was growing medicine to help people, and the young boy thought that was a good thing. So he shared that information with his class at school, and then they ended up raiding his house as a result of that. So, yeah, I agree with you, Mark. The best thing you can do if you are a freedom-loving person is get your kids out of government school. Because if they're not in government school in the first place, then there's not anyone who's a government school agent who can be suspicious of their beliefs or your family's beliefs.
Well, if you're suspicious of government control, then where do you think the indoctrination comes from? Likely it is from the government school. I mean, isn't that the definition of indoctrination? I mean, saying the same thing over and over again? Come on.
National Consortium of the Study of Terrorism and Responses to Terrorism, the START report, produced by the Office of University Program Science and Technology Directorate at the Department of Homeland Security in 2014, lists sovereign citizens as the primary domestic terror threat in the United States, followed by Islamic jihadists, and militia patriot, and the extreme anti-tax groups.
Most of the people that I know from those organizations that I got sort of introduced to the Liberty Movement were law enforcement. I mean, they were anti-tax, patriot, sovereign citizen types. Absolutely.
I don't know if I would consider law enforcement to be sovereign citizen types. I mean,
I mean, that was my experience.
Known those people?
What's that?
You've known people in law enforcement who would call themselves a sovereign citizen?
They were sympathetic to the notion.
Okay. Interesting, because normally when,
the sovereign citizens often go through many sets of paperwork in order to set themselves free, and I would say that likely those people hadn't done that. However, they would have sympathy for the people who did, would be how I would describe them.
The document attempts to persuade law enforcement that sovereign citizens are a direct threat to them, saying, quote, "Such changing perceptions about what is a serious terrorist threat is an important finding because identifying and prioritizing a threat is akin to hitting a moving target and evolves as new intelligence data and events develop," the report argues. The High School Informer Network initiative by the FBI is part of a larger effort of, quote, identifying and prioritizing supposed threats.
Isn't this a really difficult position for the FBI? On one hand, everybody blames them for not having gotten the 9/11 terrorists. And on the other hand, they're being told, hey, lay off American citizens that might have different beliefs than you do about the government. Because, I mean, ultimately, the United States the United States government was a revolutionary organization that, went out and killed the previous government.
Are people who believe in independence, people who believe in freedom and the individual, are these people a threat? Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, and what are you going to do about it? It's Free Talk Live.
At Van Dyke Mortgage, we would like to thank our military veterans. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. For your service to our country, the Veterans Administration or VA loans are available for active, non-active, and retired veterans who meet the established requirements to assist in buying or refinancing a home loan. The most notable features and benefits for those who qualify are 100% financing, no monthly mortgage insurance, a variety of terms or loan types, reduced costs for disabled veterans, and no seller prepayment penalty. At Van Dyke Mortgage, we work hard to be your trusted mortgage advisor and can help analyze your personal situation and give you advice that matters. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com. That's VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
My name is Don Wiskin. In 1994, I lost my 62-year-old father to complications of bypass surgery. In 1977, my 44-year-old brother was found dead in his apartment. He suffered a heart attack. In January of 98, my mother had a stroke and passed away in her bed. 21 days later, my 53-year-old brother passed away on his arrival to the hospital. He waited too long. In June that same year, I almost joined them at 42. What did I do? I took a 7-herb formula I now call Extendivite, made from garlic, cayenne, bilberry, ginkgo biloba, hawthorn, milk thistle, and valerian. Based on German studies of natural medicine, Extendivite is designed to clear blocked arteries, clean the toxins from your blood, and improve your immune system. To get your Extendivite, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website, heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper, FPP News, at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us on the radio here. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Looks like the FBI, according to Infowars.com, has released a document, or they've rather unclassified a document when it was delivered to the nation's public schools. I don't know. How many of the schools have had it delivered to them? I don't know either. But the FBI wants a high school informant network of teachers and administrators who will snitch out your son or daughter if they happen to have certain beliefs that might be considered a threat to the state.
Doesn't it make perfectly good sense that the government would want to work with the government schools in order to sort of pick out the people that would be most likely to,
they need re-education, Mark. Clearly,
be revolutionary or something like that. I mean, this sounds to me like it's just putting down of ideas. This is pre-crime, thought crimes.
We're going to continue with that here, and you're welcome to share your thoughts on this. We'll give you a little bit more information on it as well. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. But let's go first to Skype, where we have What's the Frequency? Kenneth is on the line from, I think, Colorado. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
That's correct, Colorado.
Yes, sir.
I'm a relatively young man in the context of heart discussion, and my cholesterol's low, my heart's doing pretty well, but I was recently diagnosed with a condition, basically hypertension, but I guess you'd call it extreme hypertension.
You have really high blood pressure.
Yeah, I was admitted to the hospital.
Okay.
And there were no symptoms, so to speak, except that they measured my blood pressure, and it was really high. I mean, I'm talking over 200, 200 something over 160 something.
That's pretty scary. Yeah.
Yeah, really scary high. And I've started eating a beet a day, actually.
A beet?
And a beet a day, yeah, because I'd been reading up on it, of course. I'm a computer geek. And so what I wanted to know from you about super beets was, have you tried both flavors, and how could you characterize the flavor that wasn't black cherry?
The other flavor's new, so I believe I'm getting the black cherry now, but it kind of tastes like a berry flavor to me. I can tell you that it doesn't taste like beets, and that's a pretty good thing. My wife just started taking it too.
What is super beets? I'm sorry.
Super beets is it's a dietary supplement, and what it does is they've taken the dietary nitrates from beets, and there's a lot of study around this in order to increase your nitric oxide production in your body, and it's good for your heart. Specifically, it's also quite good for blood pressure and these sorts of things. A lot of athletes use it. It's great for circulation, variety of things. And my wife's taking it. Basically, she takes a little over a scoop and mixes it with maybe an ounce and a half of water, shakes it up in a jar with a lid, and then downs it in 2 gulps. It's no big deal. She doesn't seem to have a problem with the taste, and she's often can be quite picky about the flavor of these things. I mix it in with some other sort of green powders and that sort of thing and drink the whole deal, and it doesn't bother me at all.
I don't mind the flavor of beets myself. In fact, I eat a lot of vegetables that, some of them taste good to me, some of them don't, but I eat them. None of them really drive. Well, there's some that drive me away, but very few. I was also wondered. To be clear, they have a regular flavor and a black cherry flavor, so maybe the regular flavor is the old one. But
maybe that's the one. Yeah.
So hey, thanks for the call tonight.
I have another question.
Okay, quickly.
It says that there's a exclusive offer for Free Talk Live listeners through your website, and the price looks exactly the same. Not only that, but I go to their website and they offer me 15% more off.
The price should be the same, but the special is that you get a 30-day supply free with your first order, so you get extra. You get the nitric oxide indicator strips, the Beat the Odds book, and free shipping.
Okay, I'd like you to compare their websites because they look identical.
Thanks for the call tonight.
Right.
Appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Mark, where would one go if one wanted to learn more about that?
FTLbeats.com.
All right, let's go to the phones.
Let me give the telephone number, too, in case people want a phone number. 800-951-8940. It's FTLbeats.com. 800-951-8940. It's a great product.
To the phones, to the phone. We were talking about the federal government sending out some sort of notice. There's an unclassified document now about teachers and administrators at government schools supposed to be on the lookout for supposed domestic extremists. Are you one of those domestic extremists? The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, or maybe you're somebody who supports this witch hunt that the government is going on
like
here. You can also comment as well. Toll free 855-450-FREE. John is on the line listening in Idaho. You're on Free Talk Live. Hey, John.
Thanks for taking my call.
Welcome, sir. Go ahead.
I heard you guys in Mississippi a couple of years ago. That's where I picked you up. I was working back there, and I've been pestering my local station, which is 1260 AM KICR, to pick you up, and they finally have.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
So basically, when's the police state going to take the blinders off and put a cop on everybody's doorstep, basically, I guess? You know, they're to the point that they're getting our children to rat us out. They want our doctor to rat us out.
Psychiatrists.
Yeah, when does it
Pharmacists.
end?
Well, you know, one of the things that's going to prevent them from putting a cop on everyone's doorstep is it's actually getting harder for them to hire police. The way at least this is what one officer, actually a police chief, told me, I don't know, within the last 4 or 5 months. I had a conversation with him outside of a political event here. He was doing security for it, and he told me it's getting much more difficult for him to find new candidates who are actually qualified to be a police officer. We've talked to people like this former police trainer who tells us that of the people who are being recruited for police, more and more of them are just thugs, basically, people who want to wield a badge. Badge heavies was the term that he used. So it's getting harder to find good candidates or any candidates at all because people don't, the cops don't look good these days with all the police violence, and that's something that young people, who of course they're trying to recruit for policing work, are very well aware of, more so than previous generations, I think. So I don't think they're ever going to have enough police to put them on every doorstep, but I do get where you're coming from. The police state is expanding as much as they possibly can, and they're certainly militarizing the existing police as much as they can.
I think they want the Cro-Magnon types on the police forces, to tell you the truth. They go to court. The one guy, you've probably heard about it, maybe you've talked about it. The guy had a really good IQ. They wouldn't hire him because he was too smart.
That's right.
He takes it to court, and the courts actually agree with him that, yeah, they got these standards, and it's all right to discriminate.
Yeah,
So
that was a case in New London, Connecticut, if I'm recalling. There have been a few cases like that out there.
Not every department has that standard, by the way.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
But what I was pointing out, though, was that the police departments around the country, they are militarizing themselves. They are putting themselves into our lives more so than ever. But that's actually making it more difficult for them to find any recruits whatsoever. And the guy that was complaining as a police trainer, he ended up quitting his job because of the poor quality of recruits. So you're right. They do want the Cro-Magnon types. They want the ones who don't think for themselves, because the ones who don't think for themselves are less likely to question the bad, nasty, unconstitutional orders they're being given constantly. Thanks, John, for your call. It's Free Talk Live.
The final phase of extermination is set to commence now. And as population die-off becomes evident, you know it is the time of punishment in all that is written. The cover for mass die-off is evolution and global warming frauds, also used as false proof of their Christ. They are from the lines that were disinherited 2,000 years ago. Now they claim to be his Christ based upon blood type, DNA, and long lifespan. Go to unveilingthem.com. That's UNVEILING them.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your AMP will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you AMP Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com. Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com. Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us here on the radio waves on this live Saturday edition. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. We've also got Skype. So Skype on into the show here at username LRN.FM. You want to get your shopping done online, you can do it with Free Talk Live and help us out at the same time. So you get the stuff you want, and Free Talk Live gets a cut of the sale. Through Amazon, when you go to shop.freetalklive.com, there are a couple other links like to Walmart and other things like that on there, but Amazon's probably the best deal for, well, pretty much everything. So start your shopping at shop.freetalklive.com, and there's links there for Amazon UK, Canada, and US. So just go to the right Amazon for you, and Free Talk Live will get a cut of the sale. Very simple. Start your shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. We're talking about a document that's now unclassified. It was released apparently in January of 2016 originally. I don't know if that was when it was unclassified or when it was originally released. The document itself is 28 pages long. It's entitled Preventing Violent Extremism in Schools. And the folks over at InfoWars were the ones with a heads up on this. We'll tell you more about the document in moments. But in essence, it's, informing teachers and high school administrators that they need to be on the lookout for certain things in their students, certain beliefs, certain things that they might say or do, and then who should they snitch to? Who should they contact and when? That's one of the sections of this 28-page long document.
Yeah, and what are the results of this informing on, somebody who has, I don't know, might be experimenting with new ideas in the area of high school? I was certainly doing that.
Excellent question. I would presume that at some point the FBI might come and pay a visit to that student.
Well, I mean, that's what is it going to exclude certain colleges? I mean, once it goes down, once the school has, recorded this, are you now, if you're, a right-wing extremist as far as they're concerned, are the elite lefty schools going to want you? I don't know the answer to that. It just seems like it is so rare that the government just says, oh, we're going to keep an eye on somebody. They have systems, and they put in place systems, and they use these criteria. I don't know. Is your kid going to end up on the no-fly list because they asked some question in civics class?
That's a good question. We don't know what the consequences are or where this is going to lead, but it can't be anywhere good. Let's go to your calls and thoughts at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Let's go first to Will. He's in Seattle. You're on Free Talk Live, listening online. Hey, Will.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome. Go ahead.
So I'm glad you brought the whole FBI study release up to everybody's attention. I mean, I've been familiar with this for a while because I was investigating the whole sovereign citizen movement and like the Freeman movement and that kind of thing for the last couple of years. And it kind of seems like these people or us people are the ones who are challenging the state and challenging the state's authority and saying that we don't live by government rule and those kinds of things.
Well,
and
yeah.
So what would be the ultimate threat to the state? Well, it would be the people who are out there spouting this kind of quote unquote like heretical speech. It'd be the Freemen, it'd be these people. So it's not really a huge surprise that they would deem, say, sovereign citizens at the top, even above like Islamic extremists or right-wing extremists or left-wing extremists or, like the people who showed up and messed up the Trump rally, what was it, last night?
Yeah, that's been making a lot of headlines.
Extremists.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like, if sovereign citizens are the top threat, the top supposed violent terror threat to the United States, where is all the violence by the so-called sovereign citizens? I mean, whenever the cops bring up sovereign citizens as a threat, they always have to dig back several years before they can find one purported instance of violence between a supposed sovereign citizen and police. And the only one I can recall is the one on the side of the road where there were two ostensible sovereign citizens who like a father-son, who allegedly gunned down some cop.
With all the sovereign citizens out there, if they were a bunch of violent people, they probably should have committed more violence.
They claim I've seen numbers, estimates of like 300,000 to 500,000 so-called sovereign citizens. That's a lot from whom there should be some violence coming from, if indeed they are inclined towards violence.
And the police have, been far more violent and killed far more people than sovereign citizens have in the United States. And if you were to assume that of the 1,000 police shootings that went on in the United States, that they were right 99% of the time, that means they were wrong 1% of the time. That means the police killed more people last year than sovereign citizens were a threat to police. So I color me unconcerned with the sovereign citizen threat.
Yeah, it sounds like the police killed more than 1,000 times what the sovereign citizens killed.
Exactly. And the whole thing is that a lot of sovereign citizens, they start out as sovereign citizens. We end up, full voluntarists, where it's like I don't want to acknowledge that the government has any law over me. I'm not going to play a law game. I just don't even consent to the rule in the beginning. So, I don't need to have any kind of special diplomatic immunity or those kinds of things. And realistically, I'm sitting here on my couch. I believe in the non-aggression principle. I'm not out there hurting people. I'm not out there, restricting people's free speech. I'm glad to argue with anybody who wants to say something stupid. You know what I mean?
Thanks, Will, for your call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. What is a sovereign citizen anyway? I mean, the government loves to trot this term out and associate it with violence. Personally, I wouldn't apply it to myself, and I'm a pretty liberty-oriented guy. I believe in individual freedom and your right to secede both at the state and the individual level. So I can understand where some of the sovereign citizens come from, but I can't really define what a sovereign citizen is because it's I'm sure each of those sovereign citizen types probably has a different understanding of what it really means. They seem to be people who appreciate getting away from the federal government at the very least.
Yeah, they seem to want to be citizens of their particular state.
Of their state, yeah.
Oftentimes, and they'll claim that they don't need a driver's license to drive and they don't need to pay into federal programs and
I agree with them on
do
that.
not want to receive anything from those federal programs.
Well, some of them have this scam that they believe that there's like a secret bank account with their name attached to it and their Social Security.
Well, they're trying to get the federal government to release those funds, but so far I don't believe any of them have been successful, so what's the problem with that? And here's the question I have for people is, look, if I don't want to use Social Security and I don't want to use Medicaid and I don't want to use Medicare and I don't want to use any federal government programs, why can't I opt out of them? Well, I can tell you the reason is because the state is an organization. It's a monopoly. It's a monopoly that claims the monopolistic use on violence in a given landmass. And therefore, or at least cartelized. In the case of the United States, we have several different layers of government. And either way, those governments recognize those other governments' right to use violence on you if that's what they want to do. And if you don't think there's violence, stop paying taxes and see whether or not they come for you to put you in a cage.
Oh, they will at some point. Let's go first to Joshua in Myrtle Beach. You're on Free Talk Live, listening to WRNN. Hey, Joshua.
Hey, how are you guys doing tonight?
What's on your mind? Go ahead.
Well, I was listening to you. Actually, I'm a first-time listener. I'm actually out late doing some late-night shopping, but
Welcome.
I kind of have seen it from both sides of the aisle. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, served in Iraq, so I've seen the face of terror. And I'm also a public school teacher. I teach in a high school, and so I haven't actually seen any sort of documentation that's telling me to specifically look for terrorism or anything like that. But what we are actually, we're called mandated reporters. Anybody that's a teacher, at least from my knowledge in the state of South Carolina, if we even suspect anything fishy going on, like it could be abuse, anything like that, we're like legally obligated to report it. There was a case a couple years ago where a teacher didn't report some sort of abuse, and she actually went to jail for like 5 years and lost her teaching license.
Wow.
Now, it's one thing to report a kid coming to school with a black eye or something like that. It's another thing to report a young child for talking about his, let's say, his stepfather growing marijuana. Are you obligated to report that?
Oddly enough, yes.
That's sad. Of course,
it's one of those. I believe in freedom, 100%. I think if nobody's bothering anybody, like I always tell my students, and this was my class motto, is people be a lot better off if they minded their own business.
No doubt. I think you found the right show, Josh. Welcome aboard to Free Talk Live. Appreciate your call tonight. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
I'm Steve Sitkowski, a former Wall Street insider. Right now, I'm holding a book that could change your life. It will show you investing strategies which could help you earn the kind of money you've always dreamed about. And right now, I'm giving this book away for free. So who needs to read it? If you're in the middle of your career and you worry you'll never have enough money to retire, you need to read this book. If you're already retired and your income isn't enough, you need to read this book. And if you don't want to be selling burgers at the age of 80, well, you need to read this free book. The reality is you'll need at least $1 million to ever fully retire. If you're behind on that goal, you really need to read Trade Like the Pros. And you can for free by calling 1-800-656-9549. Are you skeptical that it will deliver results? It's a free book, so what do you have to lose? Find out how at 1-800-656-9549. That's 1-800-656-9549. 1-800-656-9549.
Hi, Pat Matthews again. I want to talk to you about selling online. And when I say selling, I'm talking about your home, your car, and even buying a house or a new set of wheels. There's a new kid in town, and that's buysellmakeoffer.com. The revolution has already begun, and I invite you to be a part of it. You see, get in on the ground floor because buysellmakeoffer.com never charges item fees. Can you imagine what the other guys might charge you for selling a car on their site, let alone a house? Well, buysellmakeoffer.com doesn't do that. And you can use Skype and YouTube videos to sell your products, big or small. Go right now to buysellmakeoffer.com and set up your account. For as little as $7.95 per month, you can sell up to 50 items, and they'll give you the first 30 days free just to try it out. Remember, no per item fees. Join the revolution today. buysellmakeoffer.com and tell them Pat Matthews sent you.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit did your nerves spike. You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine. so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Friday, gold is $12 lower at $1,268 per ounce. Silver is 2 cents higher at $15.68 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $412 US. Compared to gold, silver is the cheapest it's been in 7 years. Buy silver now and get more ounces of gold later. Ask us how at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live Saturday edition of the program. We're discussing this FBI document, 28 pages. But you know how government documents are. They're always longer than they have to be.
It's probably arduous reading, too. Yeah. Many times these documents are just, they're dry and written in a way that is difficult to understand, so you have to read them through more than once. It's just mind-numbing.
They are creating there's certain recommendations here. How to prevent violent extremism in schools. I'm on page 25 of the document here, which is all about preventing extremism in schools, they say. They're on the lookout for people who believe in their rights, individual freedom, so-called sovereign citizens, freemen. They want to establish threat assessment teams. In 2013, the state of Virginia adopted House Bill 2344, mandating the creation of threat assessment teams, or TATs, and procedures for intervention with students whose behavior poses a threat to the safety of school staff or students. Convening a TAT allows for intervention with students exhibiting concerning behaviors driven by personal and ideological factors. Now, look, I'm not in favor of violence. I want to make that clear. I don't think violence solves problems. That's what the government does. The government thinks violence solves problems. I think that if you lower yourself to the violent level, you're just like the state. You're really not that different. But at the same time, I don't necessarily think that just because somebody believes in freedom, just because somebody wants to have more independence in their lives, means they're going to use violence to get it. So to jump to that conclusion, I think, is a scary thing. And to, look, if somebody is advocating for individual liberty inside a government school, to automatically consider them a potential violent threat, I think is a real jump to a conclusion that is damaging to whatever relationship you might have had with that student. But if you want to share your thoughts with us here at 855-450-FREE, maybe you support the police singling out these individuals, taking them aside, just having a little chat with them to let them know they're there. You can join us here also via Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. Let's go and continue with your calls and thoughts. Tim is in Indianapolis listening to WIBC FM. Hey, Tim.
Hey, any responsible teacher, and I taught for a number of years, including in high school, any responsible teacher, if they think some kid's going to go do something really nuts like that, they're going to report him to somebody anyway. I think that this idea of lumping all of these behaviors and ideas and thoughts together is to make teachers aware of and to start distrusting students that have these kinds of views. I think the whole idea is to break down that relationship between teacher and student. And
make them suspicious.
Yeah, and I think a high school teacher is closer to the student in many ways than actually the parents are, because they'll tell us stuff that they'll never tell their parents. And most of the time it doesn't mean anything, but if it does mean something, it'll get back to them real fast. And I think that they are discouraging free thought. I think they're discouraging the same kinds of things that Sam Adams would have loved. And it's a little spooky.
Totally agree with you, Tim. Thanks for sharing your thoughts tonight. I appreciate it. Let's continue with Jay Noon on the lines, on the amp lines. Hello, Jay, calling from Colorado. Jay Noon. Actually, I had you muted. Let's try that again. Go ahead.
Well, as you guys... I've had a lot of police interactions. Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you now. Go ahead.
Okay, so I've had a lot of police interactions. And oftentimes I'm wearing a shirt that says, like, cop block, or I record police, or something like that, you know, an anarchy symbol or whatever. And I get asked all the time, are you one of them sovereign citizens?
Really?
Or they just presume that I'm a sovereign citizen. In fact, I had one guy say, you're a sovereign citizen for Palmer, aren't you? When I was getting arrested in Springfield last time I got arrested.
Ah, yes.
And at that particular event, when I got arrested, I was in court. They had me do a psychiatric evaluation, and the shrink says, first question, are you a sovereign citizen? And what I always ask these guys is define sovereign citizen. And I've asked judges, prosecutors, cops, and a psychiatrist to define sovereign citizen. They can never give me an actual definition. They say something like, someone who doesn't like to pay taxes. Because I'm branded as someone who doesn't like to pay taxes, which is fine. And I got to explain to them that sovereign means, according to any dictionary you pick up, to be free, according to the Supreme Court, to be free. And citizen, according to the Constitution, the 14th Amendment, means to be a subject to the United States, or a subject to the English crown if you're an English citizen. So I explained to them that the term sovereign citizen is an oxymoron.
Yep.
And you can't say to somebody, are you a sovereign citizen, because it's trickery. The question.
I think that's a great response, is, asking them the question back, because generally you don't want to answer their questions, but asking a question in return is not really an answer to a question. Asking them to define the term, because I couldn't even really define it earlier, and I'm probably more familiar with it than, the average cop. Like, it probably means something different to every single person who attaches the term to themselves. But I agree with you. I would never call myself that, because it's a clear contradiction in terms.
Absolutely. And I believe the term sovereign citizen was created to literally as like, I don't know, smoke screen, or, to just bumble up the liberty movement. Because there are still people I come across today that say, hey, I'm a sovereign citizen, and, I seen your video on copblock.com, and, you're awesome. Are you a sovereign citizen too? No, stop using that terminology, please. And I explained to them that was probably created by the FBI for people to dumb people down in the liberty movement. Just stay away from that sovereign citizen stuff, and don't call yourself a sovereign citizen.
Yep, there's a lot of scams surrounding it too. There are a lot of the gurus out there who would purport to tell you how to free yourself from the system. They just want to make money off of people who are desperate and want to be free. And ultimately, some of their schemes will end up getting you in even hotter water with the government. Thanks, Jay, for your call tonight. So yeah, be very, very cautious around anyone advocating for so-called sovereign citizenship. I advocate for freedom, but that doesn't mean I support the idea of sovereign citizenship.
Many times what the whole sovereign citizenship thing seems to be about is filing paperwork in order to get your freedom from the government. And, I guess color me skeptical.
That they're just going to let you free because you filed the right paperwork?
Right. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry. The state is an organization that has been around and in one form or another for at least 9,000 years.
I've tried filing some of the paperwork. It didn't work.
Yeah. And what they do is the state claims you as essentially their tax livestock. Yeah, you get a vote. But that vote, say on a national level, has never been consequential. So your vote, whether you choose to vote or not, is meaningless because it has never been consequential.
Let's go to the phones, to the fun. Dennis is in Concord, New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Dennis.
Hey, guys. So I wanted to call in and let you know, as one of the first people ever, I think, to hit the show, why I no longer amp the show and why I no
Do me a
longer-
favor and bring that phone about 3 inches away from your mouth because it's pretty distorted. It's hard to understand you.
How's this? Is this better?
It's okay. It's a little better, I think.
Okay, I'll get it out there quick. Yeah, I was one of the first amplifiers of the show. I no longer the show. I won't be anymore.
Dennis, can you call back on some other line?
He just said he said he's no longer amping the show. Go ahead.
Yeah, so basically, I've come to the realization over time that Free Talk Live, and in particular, some of your input, Ian, has really come to be much more of a liability to the liberty movement in New Hampshire than more so that I really can have nothing to do with Free Talk Live, Ian Freeman, anything to do with you. And really, a lot of us who are here in the trenches trying to good change in New Hampshire, we just cannot be associated with you and with this show anymore.
So isn't Free Talk Live, we just received an award from the Free State Project as the organization that has brought more people in.
By popular vote, by the way.
Yeah,
that award.
more people into the Free State Project than any other organization. I think it's rightly earned.
The award was for spreading the message specifically.
And I think that, the claims have been that somewhere between a quarter to a third of the Free State Project's 20,000 signers were brought on by Free Talk Live, and I don't know.
I've never made that claim, and I wouldn't make that
I
claim.
didn't. I just asked people their claim, and the numbers that were floated by influential people in the Free State Project were those kind of numbers. So now Ian's one of the hosts on here, Dennis. Why would you pull your amp from both of us if one of us upsets you?
Yeah, Ian has done so much. It's amazing. So many of the people who should be natural allies with Free
Hold that
Talk Live
thought, Dennis. 855 450 free. It's Free Talk Live. Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof form of money to the people where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom and the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com. Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from Castle Rock, Colorado, just south of the Mile High City, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, March 12th, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.45 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,251 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $418. Antiwar.com reports a new report from the UN Human Rights Office is accusing the U.S.-backed government of South Sudan of a series of horrific war crimes in their ongoing civil war, saying it has created one of the most horrendous human rights situations in the world. Officials say that the South Sudanese government encouraged troops and their militia allies to loot private property and rape women as a way of getting out of paying them, with the UN saying they documented 1,300 rapes in Unity State alone over the course of 6 months. The United Nations said militias were told to do what you can and take what you can, and noted that civilians suspected of supporting the opposition were burned alive or hacked to pieces by troops, with torture and forced displacement being common. South Sudan became an independent state in 2011 and has loudly been endorsed by the U.S. ever since, with officials talking up a special relationship with the South Sudanese people. The nation quickly fell into civil war, however, and an increasingly bloody one. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the head of the Washington, D.C.-based Center on Higher Education Reform, part of the American Enterprise Institute, said the crisis rhetoric surrounding student loans is overblown, and the mounting student debt just means more people are going to college and potentially adding to the national economy. Andrew Kelly said the $1.3 trillion in unpaid student loan debt that is looming large over the country may not bring the gloom and doom some economists have predicted. He told CNBC's Power Lunch it is too soon to tell if outstanding student loans will hinder further economic recovery. Student loan borrowers have been calling for reform to the education loan system as the percentage of borrowers who are 90 days or more delinquent in payments or are in default hit 11.6%. Borrowers have called on lawmakers to make changes to the system, including lowering college costs. There have been incremental changes on a local level, but little has been done at the federal level. Many are looking to the presidential candidates to alter the course of college financing. Kelly said the number of borrowers, some 43 million people, is not the problem. Instead, the problem stems from borrowers who never finish their degree and struggle to repay their loans. Kelly said they're not the people with six-figure debts that you hear about in the front page of the New York Times. They tend to be people who have very low debts who drop out before ever earning a degree. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports an Ohio judge ruled on Friday that teenagers celebrating their 18th birthday before the November elections are entitled to have their votes for presidential nominee counted in next week's state primary. 9 teenagers from across the state claimed in a lawsuit this week that Husted's interpretation of state law that eliminated their voting rights was incorrect. The judge said his decision affected potentially thousands of other 17-year-old voters still eager to participate at next week's presidential primary. He said no Secretary of State between 1981 and 2012 had ever adopted the reading of state law he was now overturning. Husted in December modified the state's election manual to say 17-year-olds are allowed only to nominate candidates but are prohibited from voting for presidential delegates because they are elected, not nominated, according to the lawsuit. The teenager argued Husted's interpretation contradicts state law and a previous ruling by the state Supreme Court that allows 17-year-olds who will be 18 by the election to vote in the primaries. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A total loser's corpse contained no traces of drugs or alcohol, and a superstitious Delta Airlines adds busty mermaids to its plane noses. My friend, you look like you are in need of the world's finest internet news summaries. Please come in and warm yourself by the fire of knowledge. This is The Onion Week in Review. A new law passed in Colorado this week will allow residents with a doctor's prescription to purchase medicinal fireworks, saying that those in need of stargazers, firecrackers, and Galleria highlights now need only obtain a doctor's prescription. State officials expressed hope that the law would ease the suffering of those in need of huge, dazzling explosions. And in this week's op-ed pages, a man notes that, like it or not, we all die, then get dug up and molested. In other news, white male privilege is squandered on a job at Best Buy, and a local TCBY has missed the past 2 logo changes. Well, that's it for now. Goodbyes are bittersweet, my love, so I'll only tell you, for more, keep checking theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us online here and also on the phones at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With you in studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And you can join us online over at freetalklive.com. Features on the site are free, so please enjoy them. Once again, freetalklive.com. We've been talking about this FBI 28-page long document that we're not sure to whom it has been released, but presumably at the very least to school administrator types, that is all about how to supposedly prevent violent extremism, so-called violent extremism in school, which they say could be coming from any students who might be exhibiting ideas of, well, I don't know, individual liberty and freedom. And those could be telltale signs that they might be planning to blow the place up. That's kind of summarizing. I haven't actually read the 28-page document, but Infowars.com has a piece. We were sharing some of that with you. You're welcome to comment on that or also bring up anything you want, which is what Denis has done, who called at the very end of the last hour, or we brought him in at the very end of the last hour, to discuss the idea of disassociating from Free Talk Live and from anything associated with me, Ian Freeman. So, Denis, you're back here on Free Talk Live. I didn't have any intention of talking about this tonight, but there was someone who made a petition today that you, I believe, if you didn't sign it, you certainly were promoting it. Was that your petition, Denis, that you created, the petition to have the Free State Project disassociate from Free Talk Live, LRN.FM, and Free Keen?
That was a group of about a dozen people, and I think I was the first to post it.
Gotcha. So you helped craft the wording, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. So, Mark, I think you asked him a question right before we went away.
Yeah, basically, Denis, what I'm asking is that Free Talk Live is the largest promoter of the Free State Project, or was, and before we hit the 20,000 number, and probably the largest recruiter of signers. Free Talk Live is a project of a lot of people, not just Ian Freeman. It is certainly, I've been here as long as Ian. We were both on the first night of Free Talk Live, and many people, Free Staters and native New Hampshireites among them, have worked very hard on this project, which is an outward-facing project. And the idea is that we're on 170 radio stations. We're reaching people with the ideas of liberty, and many of them, the vast majority of whom will never move to the Free State Project in order to get active for the ideas of liberty here in New Hampshire. And oftentimes when people do move, they feel like they've sort of graduated from Free Talk Live, and they don't listen much anymore because they're busy trying to change New Hampshire and change the world. And I guess
amen. So many of the people I talked to about this, they already knew that Free Talk Live was a liability and a problem, but since they don't listen anymore, they weren't really aware of, just how much they probably didn't want to be associated with Free Talk Live.
Well, how is Free Talk Live a liability? This is what I don't get, Denis. Look, I'm the main host on Sunday night.
People in New Hampshire listen to Free Talk Live.
Sure
and Ian is very good at getting into the media and being in the newspapers and being a subject of discussion in the civic society.
But he usually does that under the guise of Free Keen, does he not?
Us who are here on the ground And so many of us who are early movers, people who have organized events, you'll see a lot of people who sign that.
Dennis, you're creating a straw man, and I'm sorry, Dennis. This is Ian can barely ever get a news organization to mention Free Talk Live, and it's frustrating for me because I put a lot of time and energy into it.
Papers a lot. I'm sorry. I know that you're upset, and you're going to be upset, and that really sucks. And the fact that this has some side effects on you, Mark, is one of the things that was discussed a lot. Before we went ahead with this, and you got to bear in mind, honestly, it takes an enormous amount of negative to counteract some of those very big positives that you've described. And what I'm telling you is that being on 150 radio stations and being the most libertarian and principled directive and thing towards the Free State Project, all of that is more than negated by the amount of...
See, Mark, you just don't understand. Ian Freeman, I've ruined the liberty movement, and if you continue to associate with me, you're an accomplice in ruining the liberty movement.
Dennis, how many days of the week do I have to fire Ian off of in order for you to stop your little campaign?
No, see, it's like this.
One day?
Once a brand has gotten sufficiently toxic, the only way, why did they rename it Accenture? Only when you can't do
Dennis,
it with the same brand.
Free Talk Live is not toxic.
You can't fire me anyway,
Free Talk
Mark,
Live is a national show, and whatever you think about it here in New Hampshire, you have tunnel vision because of where you are, and I can assure you the brand is not toxic.
Hey, thanks, Dennis, for your call tonight. Appreciate it. Good luck with your life. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's the toll-free number, 855-450-3733. So this is something that a bit of controversy that has happened here in New Hampshire. For those of you who are unfamiliar, there's the Free State Project, which has encouraged 20,000 people and has gotten 20,000 people to pledge to move to New Hampshire and get active. And I am one of the earlier movers. Mark, you and I moved up here in 2006. We've been here almost a decade, not quite, but getting there. And it was Labor Day weekend, actually, is when we moved up. So we'll be celebrating our 10th year in about 6 months. Anyway, we you live every moment of your life as a liberty activist. Yeah, I do a lot of activism. I've been
I don't
arrested
do nearly
for
as
it.
much, and oftentimes I disagree with your activism. And many times the show is about that disagreement. Oftentimes, especially in the weekdays.
And the phones are open, so people are always free to disagree.
One thing that's frustrating for me is that people that agree with me and disagree with you think that it's a good idea to stop supporting the show in order to get at you. And the people that agree with you and disagree with me also think it's a good idea to stop amplifying the show in order to... I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, no, it makes sense. They want to punish Free Talk Live because it has Ian Freeman on it.
Free Talk Live is a forum where somebody who disagrees with us can get on and talk about it.
But it's run by me.
Why is it run by you?
I'm
the one who keeps it going.
No, you just do ad sales for the show.
The show would not exist without the ad sales.
I disagree with that. We would continue. You went away for a month. You left the show, and we continued on.
And I continued to sell ads.
Yes, you did. That's right, and I appreciate that. But without you, Free Talk Live would continue.
And without you, Free Talk Live would continue.
Yes, exactly. It certainly would.
Free Talk Live is simply a forum.
And then if I died tomorrow, maybe you'd all of a sudden get these supporters back, Mark, because these people are...
Look, I'm sorry. Then I'm going to have the next person on because I need to have a certain level of controversy to run a radio show, right? You've got to have controversy to run a radio show because talking about things people agree with is just boring. So then what do? Then I bring on somebody else with whom...
somebody will get mad about that too.
Somebody disagrees, and also the people that agreed with you, now that you're dead, then they disagree with me. They're never going to come back. It just doesn't make sense. Free Talk Live is not Ian Freeman's project. It is not Mark Edge's project. It is a forum for people to call in and talk about their ideas, specifically a forum for libertarians. And I thank Denis, who oftentimes will use that forum, but. There's many of them have these opinions and never bother to call.
Yep, that's true. People can't necessarily do what you want them to. I mean,
that's the problem, right? Like you're not doing the thing that people want you to do.
Right. They want me to shut up about some of my opinions that I have about, let's say, young people being able to consent to sexual activity. They want me to get in line and do what the Free State Project wants me to do, which was a couple weeks ago to remove an unauthorized Edward Snowden recording from freekeen.com, which was my blog. And I'm not here to tote water for the Free State Project, and I'm not here to appease people and change my viewpoints based on what is popular. As a liberty-minded person, I'm used to being in the minority. I'm used to being jeered at and ridiculed. For times, if I had a Bitcoin for every time I've been accused of destroying the liberty movement, I'd be doing very, very well at this point. The liberty movement will survive this, and the Free State Project will survive this, whatever ends up happening between Free Talk Live and the Free State Project. Color me unconcerned about all of this. But there is a petition right now with something like 70-something signatures on it demanding that the Free State Project disassociate from Free Talk Live, from LRN.FM.
Stop getting free advertising from Free Talk Live is what the petition seems to be about.
Right, because we go to their events every year, the Liberty Forum and the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and we broadcast live from those events, and all we ask for in return is for a hotel room to stay in, pretty much. And, there's the billing of sort of the sponsorship of the event that we get. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves, whether it's the government schools cracking down on so-called domestic extremism, or your thoughts on whatever.
When we ran out, we stopped using it.
Why would you stop?
Why undo all the good that's been accomplished? We thought everything was fine, and that was not a good thing.
No.
He started stinking. It was awful.
Shedding comes back, loss of hair, lots of dandruff.
Scratching will return. His shedding will increase.
If I ever took Roy off of Dinovite, he would go back to his hair loss.
DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
When I get down to the bottom of my box of Dinovite,
when I get to about 3/4,
oh no, I've got a couple more scoops. It's time to place my order. Dinovite.com.
Each and every day she is getting that Dinovite.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dinovite. If it's working, don't quit.
Don't do what I did and run out. 859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Hey guys, Pat Matthews here to tell you about the newest and best way to sell products online. It's buysellmakeoffer.com, an enormously revolutionary way to sell your stuff online. It's time to clean out the garage, your old golf clubs, sports equipment, tools, and yes, even your car. Forget about the way the other guys have taken more than their share from you when the sales were finalized. Look, it's happened to me over and over and over. Then I found buysellmakeoffer.com. They will never charge you item fees. Just go there right now to sign up and load all your stuff to our server to sell. This is not an auction site. Sell your car, sell your home. Realtor, sign up now. Just use our resources along with Skype and videos, then add your creativity to sell your items quickly and with no fees. Go right now to buysellmakeoffer.com and sign up. The excitement is building. I've signed up to sell my stuff with buysellmakeoffer.com. You should too. buysellmakeoffer.com.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. And you can join us here toll-free at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. You can bring up anything, including critiquing the show, critiquing the hosts, disassociating yourself, whatever you want to do here. You can also join us.
I do like to be critiqued for being effective.
You can join us online over at freetalklive.com. Enjoy the features there, but if you're getting online and you're not protecting your privacy, you need to start learning about how to do that, and ProXPN is a great step in the right direction. They can give you your privacy back on the internet. They're a virtual private network, and they encrypt your data from your computer or mobile device, whatever device you've got, Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, and there's even Linux support as well. Unlike other VPNs, ProXPN keeps no logs of your activities whatsoever, and if you're a Windows user, you can ask ProXPN about changing your DNS settings for even greater anonymity. They take credit card and Bitcoin. If you use code FTL50, you can get 50% off the regular monthly price for the lifetime of an annual account. It can be cheaper per month than a good cup of coffee. You can use the internet the way it was meant to be used. Start by going to proxpn.com right now and use code FTL50 to take back the privacy that is your right. As we continue here, we've got Aaron on the line in Newport News, Virginia, listening to WNIS. Aaron, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome, sir.
I actually, I don't want to talk to Ian. Evidently, he's a bad guy. This is my first time.
I'm a bad man.
This is my first time. Yeah, it's bad. You're bad. Is this Ian right here?
Yes, it's me, but you don't want to talk to me because I'm a bad man.
You can talk to me, buddy. Go ahead.
No, how's it going? Honestly, this is one of the first times I've listened to your guys' show. I've caught you before, but like I told the guy on the phone, I don't get much time to listen to the radio, having 3 kids and 1 on the way.
Well, thank you for spending some time with us tonight. Go ahead with your thoughts.
No problem, man. I got a couple hours. So here's the thing. As far as, trying to create, like you were talking about, the FBI wants to create these task force and stuff for these schools. I think there's a line that they're going to end up crossing where I believe that they're going to not necessarily cause people to do things, but I just think that them singling people out and saying we think this person could do something with whatever information that they decide is probable for them to do this, I just think they're going to cross some lines that they don't really expect to.
You mean like by singling out a student, taking them aside and, kind of sitting them into some sort of re-education camp, that could actually make that student more angry, perhaps actually lead them to some violence? I can see that.
Right. And not only that, but I mean, if you think about it, they pull that student aside, word's going to get around. So then,
as it always does.
Right.
Why's the school resource officer got you in his office? You snitching?
Exactly.
Whatever. Who knows what people will say?
Right. So then, then he could be, even if he was being alienated at all or made fun of or whatever the case may be, he may even have, a decent amount of friends. But once this goes around, what happens then? Maybe his friends are like, oh, this guy, maybe this guy was going to do something. I don't want to hang out with this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, great. So ruin his social relationships and drive him into depression or make him feel like even more of a loner so he ends up killing people. That's an excellent point, Aaron. Was there anything else you wanted to share tonight?
Other than that, man, I think what you guys are doing is awesome, man. And I told the guy on the phone that I talked to before, what was his name? Because I hate calling him the guy on the phone.
Oh, damn it. I don't even know either. I'm sorry about that. I should ask.
That's no problem.
I should ask every night who our board operator is, but I don't. And I appreciate that they're there. Thank you,
That's
Aaron,
cool.
for your
The
call
board
tonight,
operator
man.
has to be listening.
Yeah,
So,
we do have some
anyway,
great board operators over at the Genesis Communications
Toiling in
Network.
obscurity.
Yeah, thank you for the call tonight. His name is Brad, by the way. He did just give me that information. So thank you to Brad and everyone else who has ever answered phones over at GCN for Free Talk Live. They do their jobs, and they do it very professionally, which means we don't even need to know who they are because they usually don't screw it up.
Yeah, right. We only need their names if we're going to report them to the boss.
So going on here, we'll continue with your calls and your thoughts. Bob is listening in Virginia Beach to WNIS. Hey, Bob.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Welcome, sir. You're on the air.
Okay. I was wondering, kind of like, is this more of an extremism?
I don't know if you just hold that thought. I don't know if you're on like a hands-free device, but your audio is all over the place.
No, it's this is only I'm on a regular set.
All right, you're sounding better now. Go ahead.
Okay. I was wondering, is this more? So I have. Is this more than the extremism of that people normally deal with in schools in terms of like they're trying to start to can you tell me more about this extremism stuff that they're doing in the high schools and stuff like that?
Well, we don't know exactly what they're doing. There's a 28-page FBI document that has been unclassified sometime recently. It appears that it was published in January of this year, and it is being sent around presumably to administrative levels of various different schools around the country, encouraging them to keep an eye out for people who might be supposed domestic extremists, on the theory that they will be likely to be violent, and then suggesting that people who are sovereign citizens or freemen, people who believe in the Constitution, that these are dangerous or potentially dangerous characters. So it's sort of like a be on the lookout kind of warning.
That is ridiculous. Yeah, I guess it's just more of the same old crap that they did back when I was in high school in the 90s and early 2000s. You know, I came into high school when people, if you happen to make a graham cracker look like a gun, you'd get suspended, and the cops would arrest you if you were 5. Like, that's when I came in.
Right, zero tolerance
so basically,
is what you're talking about there. And they have had these notices for a while. I mean, this isn't a particularly new phenomenon. It's like every few years we'll catch wind of some sort of federal mailing going out to either the police or some other bureaucracy warning about the supposed danger of these sovereign citizens. So they trot it out from time to time. And
it's really the only saving grace when it comes to these bureaucracies is that they don't talk to each other very well. If the government was a more efficient organization, that it would use its brainwashing day prisons far more efficiently to turn us all into mind-numbed, slack-jawed morons.
They're trying.
But, if inefficiency is doing a pretty good job of it already, and consider that 85% of people that graduate from high school graduate from a government school, so.
Well, and with that said, I just wanted to say that these people that do graduate from high school, if you're listening, you're in high school, if you're in middle school, whatever the situation, it's up to you to not be that brainwashed buffoon. And if you have a kid who's in the government school, I personally don't have an issue with that. But you have to understand that you need to teach your children, morals and ethics and, independence.
Absolutely right. They are not going to pick that information up.
It's not your school's job.
Absolutely.
It's your job to do it.
Thanks. Great call, Bob. Thanks for making it tonight. I appreciate it.
100%. My son is homeschooled, but I do.
If he weren't.
Yeah. I mean, you're responsible for his education, whether he's homeschooled or not. You may send them to middle-class welfare babysitting service throughout the day, but that doesn't mean that the government's going to do a good job of educating them. I mean, you just have to compare them to the private schools and compare them to homeschool kids, and you will see they're not going to do a good job of it.
Toll-free number tonight, if you want to join us, bring up what's on your mind, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. It's Free Talk Live.
Don't know what's in your drinking water? Better get a ProPure. With the Pro 1G 2.0 all-in-one filter, remove over 200 contaminants, including fluoride and lead. Taste water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure water filtration products. There's a ProPure system for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details on our current free shipping special or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS?
Get on board with the Tax Admiral. Don't pick on the IRS alone. I'll cut penalties and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely.
We're an A-rated company helping people clean up their mess with the IRS.
If you owe $10,000 or more, then call the Tax Admiral.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. If you want to play online poker with Bitcoin, you need a site that's trustworthy and technically sound. The site managers of swcpoker.eu have proven their commitment to bringing you great gameplay from a site you can trust, swcpoker.eu. They have lots of new games too, including Chinese poker, and their Krill leaderboard is open right now. It's a beautiful site, easy to use with lots of players. Go on over to swcpoker.eu now and have some fun with your Bitcoin. swcpoker.eu.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Arcade City is a ride-sharing app built by drivers for drivers. It's more decentralized than Uber and Lyft. With Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn. Sign up now to drive for Arcade City at arcade.freetalklive.com. Arcade City was created by New Hampshire liberty activist Christopher David. When he publicized the idea in January 2016, he hoped to recruit 100 drivers by the end of the month. Instead, he blew past his goal with over 1,300 drivers signing up in just 2 weeks. Arcade City is connecting drivers directly with riders and is disrupting the already disrupted transportation industry. If you want to get involved, you can join as a rider or a driver. To ride with Arcade City, visit arcaderide.freetalklive.com. To drive with Arcade City, visit arcade.freetalklive.com. That's arcade.freetalklive.com to drive, or arcaderide.freetalklive.com to ride with Arcade City.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and it's the live Saturday edition of the program. We'll take your calls about what you want. You can dial in toll-free here, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Skype username is LRN.FM. With you in studio, you've got Ian here.
And Mark.
And if you're looking to get some business cards for your new business or your old business, Vistaprint can hook you up. 500 business cards for starting at just $9.99 when you use code FTL at checkout. That's code FTL, like Free Talk Live, at Vistaprint.com. It's great for small business owners like you, or maybe somebody who wants to start up a small business. It's a great place to start. And they've also got other custom products for your home and office needs, like postcards, flyers, banners, apparel, and invitations. It's super easy to use Vistaprint's online tools to design these things. I use their tool to make the Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree palm card, full color, looks very, very nice. It's the size of a business card, so I just used their business card designing tool and uploaded existing graphics to it, put it together, selected my options, and was good to go. And the options are nice, too. Now, I'm a cheapskate, so I didn't go for any of these, but if you want, you can do raised print, you can do a spot gloss, you can do metallic finish, thicker stocks. You can really upgrade these cards.
When I get a business card and it's made with that thicker stock, I gotta say it catches my attention, at least for an instant. I like to flick it with a finger, and I just like the feel of that thicker stock. And I do like some of those extras. I feel like they make a difference and make your card sort of stand out.
They're there if you want them, and of course you can also upload your logo to one of their existing designs or upload your own custom design, customize your text, colors, backsides, whatever you want to do there. Vistaprint guarantees you'll love your products every time, or they'll make it right with their amazing customer service. So try it out, Vistaprint.com. Order 500 business cards, and you'll get them for just $9.99 when you use code FTL at checkout. So go to Vistaprint.com, code FTL. As we go to your calls and thoughts, Jason is in Virginia. You're on Free Talk Live. Hey, Jason.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
Great, so I'll go ahead and get to the point. I just had a question how you guys felt about the contested convention. I want to preface this by saying that I cannot stand Donald Trump. I think he's extremely divisive and incendiary. Just don't like the guy. More of a Ron Rand Paul guy myself.
Yep, same here.
The will of the people. I don't like Donald Trump. That being said, the will of the people, if the majority chooses him, and the establishment, goes on this subversive campaign to undermine the will of the American people, that seems like they're getting into some pretty hot water there. I just wanted to ask, how you guys felt about that.
I'd say the best thing, if I'm going to talk about the good things about Donald Trump, the best thing about him is he's disruptive. The political process has gone on the way the political process has for a very long time, and he seems to have found a way to kind of hack the mentality of some independent Republican and even some Democrat voters out there. People have switched from Democrat to Republican to be able to vote for Donald Trump. And I think that is interesting, and I'm interested in what is going to occur in this election. I think it's the most interesting election of our time. And I say that with my tongue.
They say that every 4 years.
I know they do, but I think that this one truly is. But we're talking about an election here, which is to say it is pretty uninteresting generally. So to call it interesting is still just saying that it's it's something that's uninteresting that's more interesting than most of those things that are uninteresting. So I don't know. I mean, you're not going to find me saying "Woo, Trump." That's definitely not going to happen. I think he's the least qualified on the Republican side to take on Clinton, who appears to be the one that's going to be the Democratic nominee. I'm not 100% sure, and I hope not. But I like the disruptive aspect of Bernie Sanders, too. So, there you go.
Jason.
Yeah, I can appreciate Bernie Sanders, but my main point is that the establishment Republicans are trying to undermine the will of the people. And I think whenever you intentionally, subjugate the will of the people and who they have chosen, that you are, you're risking revolution. Like I said,
What are the Democrats doing with their superdelegates? I mean, the superdelegates,
they're undermining.
The very purpose of the superdelegates is to undermine the will of the people.
It's very unlikely that these people are going to revolt over being screwed over by the political system. I mean, it's just going to disappoint people. It's going to disillusion people. It's going to burn them out.
Disillusionment is at a very high level in America, and that has to do something is going to occur. America, in my lifetime, has become very anti-government, they hate both political parties. I don't know what that means, but it has allowed people who are pretty anti-authority to get into the government, and it could be it could change things. I don't know, but that disillusionment has power.
Jason, thanks for your call tonight. Appreciate hearing from you. Toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Regarding Trump, I do like that he kind of stirs things up. I like that about him, but there's not much else to really like about
that's it.
And
I don't think
I liked Ron Paul stirred it up, and also was principled, liberty-minded guy.
Yeah,
so.
I don't think Trump is actually. I don't think Trump the president could possibly be as bad as Trump the candidate, as frightening as Trump the candidate.
The establishment's sort of some parallels, right, between Ron Paul and Donald Trump and what has happened. Ron Paul came into the contest in 2008 and 2012 with a principled pro-liberty message. Ron Paul understands the ideas of liberty. He's consistent. He's a real freedom lover, no doubt about it. He stirred it up. His supporters stirred it up. They came into those Republican state conventions. They tried to support Ron Paul at the state conventions and were shut down by the people in the establishment. They turned off their microphones. They changed the rules. They had supposedly had rules to these conventions. Well, they threw those aside to do everything they could to silence the supporters of Ron Paul. But Ron Paul's supporters were in the minority, and now we're seeing what happens when the Republican establishment tries to silence people who support someone who's very, very popular. Donald Trump is much more of a populist, right? Like, he's appealing to this sort of populism of, well, I'm an authoritarian, but I also like smaller government, which of course seems to ring real true to a lot of Republicans, even though you can't really be for smaller government and be an authoritarian.
He sticks his finger in the wind in a lot of issues.
Yeah, exactly. But they can't really do much to stop Trump because he has such a level of popularity. So I guess kudos to him for having that level of success, but that's really about all the good things I can say about him. I don't know which would be worse, Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. I really don't know which would be worse. That's a tough call between two poison pills.
Yeah, the process is just so messed up, and I think that a lot of the reason Hillary's up is because a lot of people just they want to vote for the winner, and they don't believe that Sanders can do it, so they just go ahead and vote for Clinton. I think it's ridiculous. She has her morality is rather dubious. In many, for the portrayal of her morality in the mainstream media is rather dubious. Sanders is portrayed as a much more stalwart defender of his beliefs. I don't generally believe what he believes.
Right. I mean, he's not a moral person. He still wants to use the violence of the state to achieve his political goals. But at the very least, he's more consistent with his beliefs.
More consistently principled. Certainly, there's no politician that can be truly consistent nor truly principled. But
Ron Paul came pretty darn close to that.
He did his best. There's some critiques.
Not much, though. Not that I would have for him. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. As we continue here, you can bring up absolutely anything you want. Let's go to Robert, calling from New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Robert.
Hi, Ian. This is Robert calling. I just wanted to call in and echo Denis's sentiments about withdrawing my support from Free Talk Live. As you're aware, I think.
I don't know who you are, so no.
Robert Patrick.
Oh, hey, Robert.
Hey. So, I went the other day to withdraw my AMP dollars, and then came to find out that I already hadn't been amping because my payment method had expired.
Can't do it twice, can you?
What's that?
Can't do it twice.
Cancel twice.
No, I guess not.
Stand by if you have more to say. 855-450-FREE. It's the Great Disassociation from Free Talk Live. Will we survive this? You can take control.
This is a life-changing message for anyone with sleep apnea who is on the go and tired of dragging around a big, bulky home CPAP device. MiniCPAP.com now offers a portable device that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. It's called the Transcend Mini CPAP, and right now you can try it risk-free for 10 days by calling 1-800-945-9289. Transcend is the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It gives you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere you are. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is so small and so light you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. Call minicpap.com now for your 10-day in-home trial. 1-800-945-9289. That's 1-800-945-9289.
It's no secret that pathogens such as bacteria, viruses, molds, and fungus can inflict severe damage in the human body. Fortunately, a new and vastly improved silver solution has been developed. Supernatural Silver is a revolutionary broad-spectrum antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal solution that can be used inside the body as well as on the skin. Supernatural Silver is unique and superior to colloidal and ionic silvers, using a patented technology that is highly effective against colds, flus, infections, food poisoning, and yeast, in addition to many other pathogens. Supernatural Silver is scientifically supported, extremely safe, and is the #1 choice of thousands of people for immune system support. Find out how Supernatural Silver could change your life. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and use the promo code HEALTHY for 20% off. That's supernaturalsilver.com. And like us on Facebook.
Bewildered paralegal Caitlin Levy says that after returning home from work today, it occurred to her that oddly at no point during her day was she harassed, leered at, or made to feel humiliated or physically threatened.
It's weird. Looking back on it, I suddenly realized that not one strange man made a creepy comment at me or an obscene gesture or a sleazy look for like the whole day. How can that be?
The 29-year-old told reporters that even at points in her day when she is traditionally almost certain to be made uncomfortable by at least one or two leering male strangers, not a single such instance occurred.
I actually got to walk from the train to my office and never once catch some weirdo smiling at me or looking me up and down or slowing down his car to yell some shit out the window at me. I felt weirdly safe or something.
This is the Onion News Network.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
Cryptocurrency and peer-to-peer tech developments happen fast. Stay in the loop with the Daily Decrypt, a new video channel and podcast that will keep you on top of the latest innovations in crypto finance, security, networking, transportation, and gadgetry like drones and 3D printers. Subscribe to the Daily Decrypt on YouTube and SoundCloud and be an early adopter of the future. The Daily Decrypt.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Now, not everybody wants to withdraw their support from Free Talk Live. We still have new people amping the show every single week. We've got a few hundred supporters who are Free Talk Live amplifiers. You can go to amp.freetalklive.com if you like what we do here on Free Talk Live, and that is spread the ideas of liberty 7 nights a week live on over 170 radio stations now from coast to coast here in the United States on 2 satellites up above the world, broadcasting down to North America, Central America, and most of Africa. Spreading the ideas of liberty 24 hours a day, because we're also part of the LRN.FM, which has dozens of liberty-oriented shows on it from not just New Hampshire, but all around the globe. Lots of great shows talking about the ideas of freedom, spreading those ideas. In fact, we created LRN.FM as a way for people to find shows that were different from Free Talk Live, because Free Talk Live isn't the right cup of tea for everybody. So when you support the Free Talk Live AMP program, you're also supporting all those other shows tangentially by supporting LRN.FM, which is sort of my hobby project that I do. It's not a moneymaker by any means. It actually costs thousands of dollars a year to run and to rent all that satellite time and stuff. But there's a petition right now being spread around in the Free State Project circles. We had a guy call in earlier, Denis, longtime caller of the show, former supporter, to announce that he's withdrawn his support of Free Talk Live. So if you would like to go support Free Talk Live, please go to the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com. If you think that what we're doing here is valuable, that this mission is important, there's no other show that's doing it at the level that we are. And you can help us out and get perks, too, like access to the AMP-only call-in lines. We had Jay Noon on those call-in lines earlier tonight. We've got the AMP-only podcast that doesn't have the usual commercials that our regular podcast does. And we've got the AMP-only Facebook group where you can actually interact with other supporters of the show. So please go to amp.freetalklive.com. You can sign up with any major credit card through PayPal, Visa, or MasterCard right there on the site. Or you can use Bitcoin as well. So Robert is on the line with us here in New Hampshire. He has also called in to announce his disassociation from Free Talk Live. So go ahead.
So a few years ago, when rumors were going around about yourself and dating a 14-year-old girl, I stuck up for you, and because I didn't believe it. I thought it was people just trying to smear you. And then 2 years later, when said girl turned 16 and suddenly you were dating, it became obvious that those rumors were true the whole time. And it was around that time, well, it was at that time, that I lost respect for you. And I started thinking about you differently. And so I did not, at that time, pull my AMP dollars, although I guess they had been pulled because my credit card had expired and I didn't know it. But I didn't pull them at that time because I felt that, yes, Free Talk Live does do more than anyone else, anywhere else, to bring people to New Hampshire. And that can't be taken away from you. That's indisputable. But
okay, thanks.
Once they get here, it becomes, since I've gotten here, I'm embarrassed to tell people I'm a free stater. And it's because of antics such as yours and your support of some of these things, based like your support of Kyle Tasker recently.
Kyle Tasker. I didn't say I supported Kyle Tasker in that you're referring to a state representative who has been accused of soliciting a 14-year-old girl on the internet for sex. What I said about that situation is that Kyle is innocent until proven guilty, and I'm not willing to believe what the police say in an indictment, which is always written to make anyone sound like the most dangerous, despicable individual they can possibly write it up as. But yet many people were more than happy to throw Kyle Tasker under the bus, even though his voting record is pretty pro-liberty. He got an A in the most recent Liberty rankings from the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance. There are plenty of people within the supposed Liberty movement who were throwing that guy under the bus. And, of course, I got into hot water because I wasn't willing to join the crowd and throw him under the bus. That's different than supporting what he allegedly did, which I don't necessarily support that. I think that in the case of the allegations that the police made against him, what it sounded to me like was he did make an approach which you could argue was creepy and inappropriate. Yeah. But the teenage girl in that case handled it fine. She unfriended him on Facebook and discontinued communications with him. So that's not defending what he did.
Please, Ian, you defend that type of behavior.
Nope, I just told you I didn't, and you're putting words in my mouth.
Hold on, Robert. You know Ian is a stalwart. He's going to defend what he says he's going to defend. He's not going to backtrack or wiggle around. I mean, he's pretty. If that's what he said he did, are you saying he's lying? That's not the Ian I know.
He says that there's nothing wrong with a 32-year-old man dating a 14-year-old girl.
Kyle Tasker wasn't attempting to date this girl. So if this is is this about Kyle Tasker? Is this about Ian choosing?
Or is it about age of consent?
It's about all of the above, I would say.
Okay, well, I can't argue only one thing at a time.
It's about the whole Garrett Ian recording.
So you've got a lot of disagreements with some of the activism that I've done, and that's fine. Regarding Garrett Ian, you're talking about when Edward Snowden was speaking. We got to let our listeners know what you're referring to, just so you know. So you're talking about Garrett Ian, who's a blogger at freekeen.com, which is my blog that I started. Recorded Edward Snowden's speech at the recent Liberty Forum event and released an audio-only version of that speech on freekeen.com, and I refused to delete it when I was asked to delete it by people within the Free State Project. And so I've been excoriated because of that, because I support
you asked for a reason specifically why you should delete it, and no one really came up with one.
No, they gave you reasons. Well, the reasons were because Garrett wasn't supposed to record that, allegedly.
But that doesn't have anything to do with you as a newsman. Once a news item is released, Edward Snowden wasn't supposed to release the items he released. That doesn't have anything to do with news organizations carrying it.
Well, Robert,
nobody said anything about YouTube when they were hosting it too.
I'm sorry that you had respect for me and then you lost it all because I had a girlfriend who was an age that you disapprove of. So I guess that's what this all boils down to. And you never bothered talking to me about it. You just, lost your respect for me, which, you're not obligated to talk to me about it. You wouldn't have known that, for instance, I was helping a young lady get out of an abusive home where she was being raped and, basically had to be around heroin addicts all day. But, that means nothing because of her age, right?
Allegedly being raped.
That's right. She's lying about that, right? Thanks for the call tonight, Robert. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Because girls just love to lie about being raped to get attention. Is that the suggestion there?
When you say allegedly and that you don't mention a perpetrator, you can say Jim allegedly raped her, and that's how you do is sort of to hem and haw. But when you say allegedly without a perpetrator, you're just calling the victim a liar.
Let's continue here. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. We've got Troy. He's in Indiana. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Troy.
Yeah, thank you for taking my call.
Hey, Troy, go ahead.
Well, I just I'm not understanding this thing with this Denis guy and this Robert guy having objections to a media outlet that allows you to voice your opinion.
Well, you see, we're more than that. We're more than that.
Right, I understand.
We're not just a media outlet that allows you to voice your opinion. We also do activism. So, I've gone out and I've been arrested for civil disobedience, and
if you're a true libertarian and you believe in liberty, as you should.
Well, thank you for that. I certainly appreciate it. The problem is some libertarians don't like to have to make excuses for other libertarians. So there's a certain group within the Free State Project who feels as though because I am a part of the Free State Project that they're all tied in together with me. So anything I do...
I feel tied in with you right now, I got to say. With everybody, these folks putting on a campaign in order to disassociate...
You're tied in with me.
No
doubt.
Well, I mean, and I guess that's what they want is they don't want to be tied in. And
sure,
that's the difficulty.
That's fine. And,
I think it's unfair.
If you're a libertarian, how do you pick and choose to be a libertarian when you want to be and when you don't want to be?
Well, I think you should be a libertarian all the time, and I definitely understand where you're coming from. But these folks don't really want to admit publicly what it really means to be a libertarian. And what it means to be a libertarian is to allow others to be free. If you want to be free, you have to allow others to be free. And they want to control other people's behavior because they're worried about how they're seen by the public because they're trying to win in politics and things like that. And I get that.
Exactly. I mean, it's kind of like they want to pick their battles so they can win their wars, like these politicians are trying to do against Trump. Anytime they can find something to jump on to, like you have Bernie Sanders now blaming Trump for these so-called protests. I mean, I don't think Trump went and paid these guys to go protest. I mean, they're at will to protest wherever they want to protest.
Troy,
just because you have a man that stands up and has, to say what he feels, how he feels, and doesn't care what anybody else thinks. I mean, to me, that makes him a man.
That's what gets me in hot water. Thanks, Troy, for your call tonight. I appreciate it. But whenever you do that, whenever you stand up and you say what you think, people are going to hate you for it. It's just how it goes, even within the libertarian community. 855-450-FREE. Hour 3 coming up.
As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Friday, gold is $12 lower at $1,268 per ounce. Silver is 2 cents higher at $15.68 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $412 US. Compared to gold, silver is the cheapest it's been in 7 years. Buy silver now and get more ounces of gold later. Ask us how at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from Castle Rock, Colorado, just south of the Mile High City, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, March 12th, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.45 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,251 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $418. Antiwar.com reports a new report from the UN Human Rights Office is accusing the U.S.-backed government of South Sudan of a series of horrific war crimes in their ongoing civil war, saying it has created one of the most horrendous human rights situations in the world. Officials say that the South Sudanese government encouraged troops and their militia allies to loot private property and rape women as a way of getting out of paying them, with the UN saying they documented 1,300 rapes in Unity State alone over the course of 6 months. The United Nations said militias were told to do what you can and take what you can, and noted that civilians suspected of supporting the opposition were burned alive or hacked to pieces by troops, with torture and forced displacement being common. South Sudan became an independent state in 2011 and has loudly been endorsed by the U.S. ever since, with officials talking up a special relationship with the South Sudanese people. The nation quickly fell into civil war, however, and an increasingly bloody one.
For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports the head of the Washington, D.C.-based Center on Higher Education Reform, part of the American Enterprise Institute, said the crisis rhetoric surrounding student loans is overblown, and the mounting student debt just means more people are going to college and potentially adding to the national economy. Andrew Kelly said the $1.3 trillion in unpaid student loan debt that is looming large over the country may not bring the gloom and doom some economists have predicted. He told CNBC's today's Power Lunch, it is too soon to tell if outstanding student loans will hinder further economic recovery. Student loan borrowers have been calling for reform to the education loan system as the percentage of borrowers who are 90 days or more delinquent in payments or are in default hit 11.6%. Borrowers have called on lawmakers to make changes to the system, including lowering college costs. There have been incremental changes on a local level, but little has been done at the federal level. Many are looking to the presidential candidates to alter the course of college financing. Kelly said the number of borrowers, some 43 million people, is not the problem. Instead, the problem stems from borrowers who never finish their degree and struggle to repay their loans. Kelly said they're not the people with six-figure debts that you hear about in the front page of the New York Times. They tend to be people who have very low debts who drop out before ever earning a degree.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and Numery supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.
Reuters reports an Ohio judge ruled on Friday that teenagers celebrating their 18th birthday before the November elections are entitled to have their votes for presidential nominee counted in next week's state primary. 9 teenagers from across the state claimed in a lawsuit this week that Husted's interpretation of state law that eliminated their voting rights was incorrect. The judge said his decision affected potentially thousands of other 17-year-old voters still eager to participate at next week's presidential primary. He said no Secretary of State between 1981 and 2012 had ever adopted the reading of state law he was now overturning. Husted in December modified the state's election manual to say 17-year-olds are allowed only to nominate candidates but are prohibited from voting for presidential delegates because they are elected, not nominated, according to the lawsuit. The teenager argued Husted's interpretation contradicts state law and a previous ruling by the state Supreme Court that allows 17-year-olds who will be 18 by the election to vote in the primaries. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Hamburglar urges a Senate subcommittee to rubble. This is Doyle Redland reporting. Hamburger advocate and convicted felon Hamburglar denounced a prison system he called rubble as he testified before the Senate subcommittee on penal reform. Hamburglar, convicted in 1998 of breaking and entering a McDonald's hamburger franchise in South Beloit, Wisconsin, and currently serving a sentence of 3 to 5 years, made this impassioned plea before being interrupted by U.S. Senator Bob Smith of Rhode Island.
Certainly there is room for improvement in our prison system, but I would hardly call the current situation rubble.
After delivering his message to the subcommittee, Hamburglar was promptly placed in chains and returned to prison to serve out the remainder of his sentence in solitary confinement. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. It's Free Talk Live. Join us toll free here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We're launching into the third hour of this live Saturday edition. Joining you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Everything from the federal government sending out a 28-page document to presumably to school boards or school administrators, sort of informing them of domestic terror extremists and how to be on the lookout for them. And they, of course, are suggesting that maybe they would be calling themselves sovereign citizens or freemen or talking about the Constitution. And are these signs of someone who's plotting a bomb plot or a murder campaign? Well, that's what the federal government...
Or somebody they just want to keep an eye on because they don't agree with the government.
Well, that's what the government would have you believe, and it's certainly what they want the teachers and the administrators to believe, so they will start making lists and checking them twice of all the suspicious, the people with anti-government views, basically. Anybody who looks Muslim or who's an anti-government viewpoint, they're going to be on a list. At least that's the impression I get from this story here from Infowars.com. So you're welcome to comment on that. Of course, yet another reason to get your kids out of government school if you care about freedom. as though you needed another reason on the laundry list of reasons to get them out of these indoctrination camps. Our toll-free number again, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Let's go to Jeff. He's in Illinois. Jeff, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Thanks, guys. I wasn't sure if you were going to get to me today.
Here you are.
I've been on
busy
about
on Saturdays.
2 hours.
Yeah,
Thanks.
we're busy on on Saturdays, and we always give priority to people who we don't know. And you've called quite a bit.
I gotcha.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, Janet Incompetano had said that the terrorists are gun owners, vets, pro-lifers, Christians, and different people like that. My dad told me that the target for all this stuff, the war on drugs and confiscating property and everything, which are just excuses, is not the terrorists or the drug people. It's the people who are patriots. And so anyway, then also the Federal Reserve has to have both. They have to create an enemy so that they can have somebody for us to fight, so they can lend money to the government, and that's their whole purpose, And the snitch system sounds like communist China there.
Well, that's what I was told when I was a kid. I remember sitting in my mom's '71 Buick, it was an Oldsmobile Cutlass Classic or whatever it was with the cabrio top, and asking sort of, What about those bad Russians? And back then the Soviet Union was the big boogeyman. What made them different? And she explained to me that what they try to do is they try to get kids to snitch on their parents. And that was sort of her explanation. I'm sure that she is no great political commentator, and I'm sure she was less of one in 1977 or whatever it was when she was explaining this to me. But her thing is that basically they try to get family members to tell on other family members, and that
they're doing the same thing today.
She did not consider that to be an aspect of a free country, and I think a lot of people have a similar thought. And
what does she say about it now?
Well, I mean, she's as disenchanted with the government as as anybody is.
Okay. Well, also like the Federal Reserve is the fifth plank of the Communist Manifesto.
Yep, it's a central bank.
Most of those planks are implemented by now. Jeff, thanks for your call tonight. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. What do we do? A show on that a decade ago, Mark, about how the Constitution's basically been debased, and the Communist Manifesto has essentially, 10 planks or 12 planks or something, and almost all of them have been 10 planks.
Yeah, 10 planks, 8.5 of them had been reached at that time.
And that was a decade ago.
By our assessment, yeah.
So you can review those, I'm sure, on your own. Just search for Communist Manifesto. Let's go to Tim, or the planks, rather, of the Communist Manifesto. Tim in Wyoming, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Hi, gentlemen. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it. This is, I don't know if you've hit this subject or not tonight. In fact, I was enjoying what your last caller was talking about, too, as far as how far we've come from, or how far we've gone towards the communist ideal. But I wanted to mention that Loretta Lynch had been on Stephen Colbert's show and was basically pushing the idea. I mean, trying to get the public, as part of the pincher movement, from government on one side, public on the other side, to go against Apple, to try and smash the Apple. I was about to say, but no, to try and get them to bend over for the government.
So just to clarify for our listeners, you're referring to the iPhone that is currently locked or was locked by the FBI accidentally as they tried to access some files from the San Bernardino shooter. The FBI had gotten a judge to essentially issue an order to Apple saying that they had to basically program some new software to allow somehow the files to be cracked into, or the encryption to be broken, and Apple's saying, look, we can't do that even if we wanted to, and further, we won't do it because it's the wrong thing to do for our business and the wrong thing to do in general. That's what you're referring to. And Loretta Lynch is the Attorney General?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, she was on Stephen Colbert saying, I believe in privacy, I believe in the Constitution, and I believe that people have the right to. I mean, she was basically just lying. I mean, that's all it was. All there was to it. But,
how did Colbert handle that? I mean, I've not seen his new show yet. Is he still playing the character of the Colbert Report, or is he like his actual self?
Honestly, no, I didn't see that. I only saw a tiny little piece of it where she was speaking about how she was, the views, her personal views, I say. But honestly, I would also say it's the exalted dictators' views as well, because they don't want anybody to have any privacy. They fly drones overhead and they spy on us and do whatever else they want to do. But okay, there's another thing I wanted to mention. When you say the shooters, the San Bernardino shooters. Now this is the whole problem. Now they're both dead. Okay, we can't talk to them anymore. We can't find out what they know, what they do, what they didn't know, what they thought they knew. Now, all we can say about them is they were alleged shooters because there were the 4 other people who were involved as well, which we don't. I don't hear a lot of talk about that. I hear that I hear the 2 shooters, and you say the shooter, the phone of the shooter, and people keep saying this over and over again. The shooter's phone. Okay, we don't know that was one of the shooter's phones. It could have actually belonged to one of the other people who was there. Besides the fact that the people that were there, the 2 people that are dead now and can no longer speak for themselves or defend themselves, and we have no idea what they, as I said already, we don't know what they know, what they knew, what they were really doing. We don't know that they actually did all the shooting themselves did any of the shooting. So that's why I say alleged shooter.
Yeah, I think it is still important to say alleged, and I thank you for that clarification.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tim, for the call tonight, man. I appreciate it. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Well, it brings up sort of the difficulty of sort of knowing what the truth is. The media tells you whatever the media tells you. You draw whatever conclusions you draw from the media telling you whatever they tell you. And then that sort of creates this world outside of your actual life. And either we can draw some kind of conclusions from the things we hear, or we can't. And it's difficult to do a radio program without drawing any conclusions about anything that occurred. It certainly seemed like, from the evidence that I saw, that those people did some shooting of some folks, and it had something to do with their Muslim
What evidence
religion.
did you see?
Well,
or did you see?
It was whatever's presented by the media.
What did you see?
I don't know. They had like their. You want me to list everything I heard?
I haven't seen any evidence except for claims from
Reports.
the police.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any evidence. Or I haven't seen any footage of the shooting.
They don't treat me like a juror, Ian. They treat
then
me
don't
like
say you've seen any evidence, because you haven't seen evidence. You've heard allegations.
Jurors get all kinds of different evidence and have to conclude from that evidence what they conclude.
You're not a juror, though.
Indeed, right. I am not.
I'm saying you haven't seen evidence.
Consumer. Well, you've
heard news reports,
and the news reports contain evidence.
No,
somebody saying something
allegations.
Is evidence.
That's not evidence, though.
Oh, sorry, it is.
That's hearsay. When someone says they have evidence, you need to say, "Let me see it," because otherwise, it's just them telling you something.
Well, then you can draw no conclusions.
That's right.
You'll never be presented evidence.
You really can't draw a conclusion without evidence.
Everything you've said about the government actors is incorrect because you're just going on hearsay.
Which government actors?
All
in
of
which
them.
case?
You draw. You make blanket.
855-450-3733. Just saying, it's not evidence if you haven't seen it yourself. You can say it's hearsay, and that's fine. It's Free Talk Live.
February is National Heart Month, and chances are you have a cardiovascular issue like I do. I help maintain my healthy heart by drinking Super Beets. It's a superfood powder that I mix with water, but you can mix it with yogurt or put it in a smoothie, whatever you want. Not only does it help boost my circulation and support my healthy blood pressure naturally, but I feel the energy and stamina boost in about 20 minutes, which no other superfood formula guarantees. All the beets from Super Beets come from one non-GMO farm in California, so they can keep a close eye on the production of the dietary nitrates. I want you to try this product for National Heart Month. And if you don't feel the results, you don't pay, guaranteed. Get a 30-day supply free with your first order. You also get nitric oxide indicator strips so that you can see it's working. Plus, get the free book, Beat the Odds. And all of this comes with free shipping. Call 800-951-8940 or visit FTLbeats.com. I believe in Super Beets. 800-951-8940, FTLbeats.com.
It's no secret that pathogens such as bacteria, viruses, molds, and fungus can inflict severe damage in the human body. Fortunately, a new and vastly improved silver solution has been developed. Supernatural Silver is a revolutionary broad-spectrum antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal solution that can be used inside the body as well as on the skin. Supernatural Silver is unique and superior to colloidal and ionic silvers, using a patented technology that is highly effective against colds, flus, infections, food poisoning, and yeast, in addition to many other pathogens. Supernatural Silver is scientifically supported, extremely safe, and is the #1 choice of thousands of people for immune system support. Find out how Supernatural Silver could change your life. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and use the promo code HEALTHY for 20% off. That's supernaturalsilver.com. And like us on Facebook.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
You can watch the LRN Studio Cam and chat with other listeners anytime at cam.lrn.fm. That's cam.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition. Plenty of time for you to dial in toll-free here and join us and bring up whatever's on your mind at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Want to tell you about Super Beets. Super Beets is it's a superfood powder that I mix with water and take every day, and it helps to maintain my heart health. I used to have high blood pressure, and part of the regimen I have for keeping that high blood pressure down is Super Beets. It's all natural dietary nitrates, and is what it has in it, and they help to boost your circulation and support your healthy blood pressure naturally. And that's the reason that I take it, and I feel the energy and stamina boost in about 20 minutes. The really great thing about Super Beets is it's guaranteed. If you don't feel and see the results, you don't pay, and it's guaranteed. You get a 30-day supply free with your first order. If you've heard about nitric oxide and its benefits, now's the time to act. The athletes, they're seeing the benefits. People who have circulatory problems, they're often seeing the benefits. Super Beets. Go to FTL, that says FTL is in Free Talk Live, FTLbeats.com. Get a 30-day supply free with your first order. Get the nitric oxide indicator strips so that you can test and see that it's working for you. Plus, you get the free book, Beat the Odds, and all of it comes with free shipping. It's FTLbeats.com. You can call that number, 800-951-8940. FTLbeats.com, 800-951-8940. I cannot recommend this stuff highly enough for people over the age of 40.
To the phones, to the fun. John is listening in Carson City, Nevada to LRN.FM. Hey, John.
Hey, I just called in to disassociate myself from the Disassociators.
You're referring to the people who, a couple people earlier in the show tonight called to say that they had previously supported the show via the Free Talk Live AMP program, but they no longer support in any way, shape, or form Free Talk Live because it has me on it.
Right, and I no longer support those people. Ian, there's many things, or a number of things I'm sure I disagree with Ian on very strongly, but after listening to Ian for a few years now, I'm very satisfied that he's a good person who intends nobody any harm, and that he's perfectly willing to argue his positions honestly, and that he's willing to change his position, when he hears a better argument. And I don't ask anything more of anyone than that.
Well, thank you for that, John. I appreciate it.
Isn't it true, John, that you're just a serial disassociator?
Oh, sure.
Well,
this is
go ahead.
Sure. No, this was particularly fun, disassociating myself from these people.
Yeah, you're referring to this petition. It wasn't just a couple people who called earlier. There are a couple of people who've signed this petition with several dozen signatures on it, attempting to persuade the Free State Project to disassociate from Free Talk Live, from LRN.FM, and from Free Keen, which are three of my more popular media efforts that I've put together. And it's just, it's a sad thing, but welcome to the liberty movement. I mean, look, people look at this from the outside and they say, oh, you guys in New Hampshire, there's all this drama. Well, the reality is there really isn't much drama that's off of Facebook. Like, for instance, if you get in the same room with Dennis Goddard, he's usually very, very nice. But he's been particularly...
He disagrees, and he will talk to you about it. He'll look you right in the eye. I think Dennis, frankly, I think Dennis is the most upstanding of people that disagree, because he will discuss it with you, and he'll tell you his reasons.
If you get him in real life, online he's not so friendly.
It's hard to write an essay to people. Facebook arguments are stupid. I've got news for you, Ian, and everybody else out there. You love yourself a flame war on Facebook, Ian. If you would just stay off of that thing, half of your problems would disappear. Facebook is a miasma of morons, and it's not the people who are typing that are morons. It's their persona on the internet, because you can't convince anybody of anything there. Stay off of Facebook, people. It ruins relationships. It ruins lives.
I actually haven't been spending much time on Facebook recently. I've been going on localbitcoins.com. Anyway, John, anything else you want to share tonight?
No, that's it. I just thought it was weird that the petition didn't even say what was wrong with you. It didn't even mention a specific grievance. Well,
it takes it as a given. They figured that you already know if you're reading it.
Sure.
Hey, thanks for the call, John. I appreciate it. And, who knows what the Free State Project will decide to do. It's not the first time that we've been in hot water with them. I mean, there have been multiple incidents over time where I have refused to carry water for the Free State Project, or Mark, that you've refused to carry their water. And, we've both been in hot water previously, and there has been talk about disassociating with Free Talk Live before. This is nothing new.
I got to kind of wonder what the Free State Project gets out of Free Talk Live at this point, and I think a lot of people are sort of wondering the same thing. If Free Talk Live and the Free State Project reached its 20,000 signers. It is a new organization. At that instant, it became an organization meant to attract people to New Hampshire, and I think they want a certain type of person, and I think in some ways, Ian, you're not that type of person, so maybe they don't belong as sponsors of Free Talk Live. I don't think that has anything to do with individuals in the Free State Project amplifying Free Talk Live as frankly, one of the loudest and most clarion voices of liberty in the world.
If only the hosts could be more perfect. Mark, if only you hadn't been in prison.
If only you would agree with me every single time, then we would be the same person and I could fire your butt, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense for everybody in the liberty movement. They don't agree on everything. They simply agree that you should be free to do what you want as long as you don't harm or steal another person or steal from them.
Unless you're under the age of legal majority, in which case then some of them don't believe that you should be able to do anything at all.
Young people are responsible for their actions. The law holds young people responsible for their actions all the time. So there you go.
Well, I think that that young people should be able to make choices, but other people think that they're just children and they can't think straight, and that they're. One of them said something like teenagers were. Oh, God, I don't remember the exact terminology, and I don't want to paraphrase and botch it up. Something like they're mentally challenged, basically.
I would agree that their brains aren't fully formed, but it doesn't seem to change. It doesn't seem to change the responsibility the government holds on them, and their decisions matter.
I know teenagers who are more mature than people in their 20s, 30s, or 40s. It just depends on the individual and how much experience they have and what they believe. And I don't think that you can judge somebody. I don't think you should judge someone based on their age.
Not entirely on their age, no. I think that I understand why people choose to use age as a number.
And if that makes me a bad guy, okay, let's continue with your calls and thoughts here. First up, Conway is on the line in South Carolina. You're on Free Talk Live. Hey, Conway.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome. You're on the air. You got to turn that radio down in the background or it's going to drive everyone crazy, including you. You're not going to be able to understand anything that's going on.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just moved here from New Hampshire. I've been in New Hampshire all my life. And I just moved to South Carolina. And I don't understand our government, why we send billions and billions of dollars to these other countries when everybody here is just, they're poor. Our veterans are on the street, homeless, without jobs. It's endless of the different things that we're not helping with here. I mean, we're helping everywhere else. But
that's a great point. There are, you're right, countless billions. I don't know what the total amount of billions is each year. It's a lot, though, that goes to these other countries. And, of course, it goes to their governments. It's not like it's helping the people of those countries
they're
either.
They're not passing out dollar bills on the street.
But they're not helping the people here, and I get you, Conway, and thanks for the call tonight. This is Free Talk Live.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
The warning signs.
First, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
I was ready to leave, but he told me he'd change. So I gave him another chance. I was such a fool.
The consequences.
Things only got worse. He started making my decisions for me. About my job, my kids' education, my money. My safety, my future. He took away my choices, but I kept going back to the same politicians.
The diagnosis? Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right.
Stop the insanity of voting for the same old abusers. Declare your independence from the two-party system and join the New Hampshire Liberty Party today at nhliberty.info.
As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more. The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, and you're invited to join us on the radio waves here. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype. Skype on in here. Username is LRN.FM. And with you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
Plus, want to let you know about the 101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire. This really is the place to go if you care about freedom. Now, not all the freedom lovers get along with one another. You've heard that some people don't like me very much.
Turns out when you get enough people who believe anything in one area, they're going to disagree on something. You know, I've seen schisms in model train clubs.
It's true. And for some people who are out there saying, oh, there's this drama in New Hampshire, well, guess what? If your libertarian movement became larger than 30 people, you would also have a schism, or more than one. You would also find that there would be internal conflict and strife within that movement. In fact, most libertarians know that if they hit 15 people, those things start to happen. So this is just something that happens with people. And I am of the belief that schisms are healthy. You know, if the
you seem to. You love to get in the middle of each and every one of it, it seems like.
No, I don't get in the middle of these things, Mark. I'm just doing my activism, and people don't like it. And then they make a kerfuffle about it. And that's fine. That's just part and parcel of the role of being an activist, is people are going to feel strongly one way or another about you. And if you do a decade's plus worth of activism and you throw a bunch of stuff up against the wall, some of it is going to offend somebody. Like whenever you ask someone, well, what is it that you disagree with that you've seen over at freekeen.com, which is my blog site, everyone's answer is almost always different. Somebody the other day complained about this was a local who wasn't a Free Stater, but a local was talking with someone who they didn't know was a Free Stater, and they kind of asked. It was actually out in Manchester. One of the Manchester activists ran into someone from Keene, and they asked them some questions about how things were out there, and just managed to get them to sort of start talking about the activists. And one of the objectionable things that they brought up was the Outlaw Gardener event. I mean, this thing happened in 2007 or something like that.
Yeah, a long time ago.
And I don't know. And the person admitted that they had not actually seen it themselves, that they weren't really too familiar with it. They just heard about it from some neighbors of theirs. But it was offensive to them, the idea that someone had gone out and tried to plant plants in the public common. And I thought that was a fun form of activism. I wasn't the outlaw gardener, but I was there to record the video. But it's interesting, right? Like you ask people and they come up with different things that they find to be offensive.
It shows
just sort of the nature of activism.
Well, to some extent, it shows the difficulty of sort of maintaining public property. If this person is being taxed to maintain a park, then why shouldn't that person be able to go to that park and make a little garden?
Yeah.
And this was this is long-standing activism. It went back to the diggers in the English Revolution in the 1640s. They
probably didn't like them then either.
Right. You can believe the nobles didn't like the idea of the peasants coming onto their land and putting crops in so they could eat.
Yeah.
And this is, now the argument comes full circle. Well, you shouldn't be taking a hoe to the central square.
In fact, I think that was that particular activist that was in Arco Jesse who did that. I think that was his crown jewel of his activism. Most of the other stuff
it certainly wasn't setting the flag on fire.
It was worse. Anyway, you can learn more about why Liberty lives in New Hampshire, why this is the destination for 20,000 people who've signed the Free State Project Statement of Intent and are planning to move here. Go to 101reasonsfilm.com. If you consider yourself a libertarian, voluntarist, or an anarchist who loves liberty, you owe it to yourself to spend an hour and watch this great documentary film, 101reasonsfilm.com. I wonder if the people who are disassociating themselves from all things Ian Freeman will also disassociate themselves from that movie, because my name's on it as a co-producer.
Yep, he's going to have to get rid of that too.
Let's go to Mikey. He's in New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Mikey. Hello, Mikey, in New Hampshire.
First of all, I want to thank you guys for what you're doing. I don't fully agree with Ian on everything, but you guys are doing a great job in pushing the free speech barriers, which is very important.
Thanks.
I don't agree with Ian on everything either.
Acceptable.
I appreciate that. Was that all you wanted to say, or was there more that you wanted to share with our listeners?
No, I'm just, you guys are right. I'm just sick of all this drama and stuff, and I think a lot of us in the Free State Project are just associating with each other too much. And, everybody hangs out at the Quail and has all these, there's so many events. And I've just started, since I moved here about 6-7 months ago, I've just started unplugging from a lot of people, and just, some people block you, and then I just find my circle of friends, and that's it. You do that, and I found some locals, and I just plug in with them.
I think that makes the most sense.
People need to do that.
Because we can't all get along. Not everybody is going to like 100% of everyone else. And then you get this ridiculous behavior where it's, you're either with us or you're against us. You side with us against this person, or we're going to side against you. And it's just this crazy popularity contest that I want nothing to do with.
I'd also like to point out, they managed to get, a few dozen people to sign this petition. That's great. I'll bet you, Ian, you would love to see a few dozen people show up to testify at the State House on a lot of these bills. It's pretty easy activism to sit at your computer and say, I think other people should do this.
Yeah.
You're right. Let's push a button and make other people do things. It's as though you're it's the wizard. You're the wizard behind the curtain.
Oh, look, the activists made a petition.
But when, as Dennis Goddard, who called earlier, will say, is the most important sort of activism is going and testifying at the State House. And Ian, you do it far more consistently
than
anybody.
Dennis there ever, actually.
Far more consistently than most. Then, well, how come they don't do that?
Well, they claim they have jobs. Mark.
I don't agree with your priorities on activism, Ian, but at least I understand that you're going there to the State House and testifying when I choose not to.
Thanks, Mikey, for sharing your call and thoughts with us here tonight. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Let's go to David. He's in Indianapolis listening to WIBC. Hey, David.
Yeah, a while back we never had any real security or privacy concerns when they were dealing with the old analog systems. Power plants couldn't be hijacked, power grids busted, Social Security numbers stole, $100 million taken from the Federal Reserve and sent to a casino in the Philippines. A little redundancy in the system, it seems like would pay for itself.
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Well, you can't send a virus through an analog system. Communication lines, the internet or any of that. There's a lot that doesn't have to be plugged into the internet.
I get what you're saying here. You're saying, so there's this thing that's happening on the internet, the Internet of Things that is being called, where your coffee maker and your refrigerator and your dishwasher and whatever, all these stuff, these items can connect Wi-Fi to, your wireless in your house, and then they could know that you're coming home based on the GPS position of your phone, and so they'll turn the lights on, or the coffee maker will turn on in the morning, that kind of thing.
This is the kind of thing I just don't need in my life.
But that's what you're saying, David, is get away from that?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No.
I'm saying real security issues like being able to take over a nuclear power plant and melt it down with a virus
and grid issues too. I mean,
yeah. You know, analog systems were safe systems to that.
I see what you're saying, but it's unlikely that anything's going to go backwards in that way, right? Like you can stop you can stop the digital invasion of your own home if that's important to you, but you know the nuclear power company is not going to revert back to the 1960s or whatever.
They better have some analog systems in place. It's not like the United States didn't attack Iran with a virus that was specifically made for that. So that's going to give somebody an idea. I don't know which foreign nation might think of it, but I'll bet you North Korea's got a few what passed for hackers, on their side of the wall.
I don't think they have internet in North Korea.
They've got internet in North Korea, but most of them don't have internet. But the people that need internet have it.
That's probably true. David, anything else you want to share? Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying a little bit of security. I think we really can see the danger that's in this technology, and just to put a break in there for certain security, privacy organizations, that would save an awful lot in the long run.
Thanks for the call, David. I appreciate it. I just don't think that the world's going that way. I don't think you're going to see that. You're not going to see a devolution down to analog.
You can still have an analog skeleton.
Okay, yes, you always will, probably, unless you choose the robot bodies, which those are coming too.
There comes a time when you need custom embroidered or screen printed apparel for your business, organization, or a special event. Corporate Casuals has been helping people create great looking logoed apparel for over 25 years. They can produce a single piece or thousands using name brand apparel like Nike, Patagonia, Adidas, and Hanes. Create your logo in their online embroidery design studio or upload your existing logo and they'll turn it into embroidery. Go to corporatecasuals.com/FTL and include FTL in the order notes and save 5% on your order.
Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof money to the people where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom in the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Have you felt different almost your entire life? Like the way things are run never made any sense? They've tried to get you to believe that you couldn't handle making all of your own decisions, that your lives had to be governed by a set of rules based on punishing everyone for the mistakes of a few. It's been a long journey, but the Free State Project has finally met its goal of 20,000 participants. Early movers have already accomplished so much, but we still need your help to show the world we can build a shining beacon of liberty. Stop making excuses and join us here in New Hampshire. Visit freestateproject.org.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can dial toll-free here at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Moments remain, but enough time for you if you join us right now. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And don't forget, if you want to help support Free Talk Live, one of the ways to do it is to become an amplifier at amp.freetalklive.com. It's $5 a month, and it allows us to help spread the ideas of liberty as far and as wide as possible. Now, the ideas of liberty do have consequences, and some people are uncomfortable about those ideas, even the people who purport to believe them. So if you support truly principled viewpoints, being on the radio, this is the show for you. You can help us out by going to the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com. AMP is in advertise, market, and promote. And you don't have to like every host on the show to amp Free Talk Live. You just have to like that overall we're doing more for liberty than any other radio show out there. And I believe that to be true. If you think we're wrong about that, go ahead and give us a call and let us know, or email us and tell us who's doing a better job promoting the ideas of liberty.
Well, shoot, I want to mimic him.
Yeah, sure. Let us know. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. But if you want to amp the show, go to amp.freetalklive.com. A-M-P. amp.freetalklive.com. It'll get you in our bonus AMP-only Facebook group, the AMP-only phone lines. You get the AMP-only podcast and more, and it helps us out a lot. So go to amp.freetalklive.com as we go back to the phones and to the fun. Let's go first to Sissy, listening in Indianapolis. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Sissy.
Hello, fellas.
Thanks.
You know, I used to talk to you guys about 15 years ago. You probably don't remember.
You sound kind of familiar.
Yeah, and you lit a fire within me that started me on a career of what I want to call anti-political writing. I even did posts for Politico.com. I wanted to debunk every news story. If it came out and they were lying, I was the one that was going to find it.
Excellent.
And that career kind of still exists today, but I'm not about this fluff in the news, and I'm not about lying, and I'm not about deluding the people with all this media crap that I want to say another word.
All right.
But, you know, I think of the days 15 years ago when I was sitting in my bed calling you guys saying, I hope I get on. Now I'm here. So a welcome reunion. But two things I wanted to say real quick. One is it'll be interesting to see what the GOP turnout is in Washington, D.C., considering the flavor of the nation right now. And you can comment on that one a little later. But secondly, I want to comment on these protesters.
Which ones?
The anti-Trump rally protesters.
Okay.
And my opinion is that most of them are there to be seen and to say that they were there, and that if they really want to get their point across, it's not going to be there chanting and letting everybody know and saying, hi, Mom, on the camera, and letting everybody know they got bloodied up by the police so that they can complain. It's when they go to the polls. That's the only way they can prove themselves. Point made.
How many people were at this protest? I saw a pretty wide shot, and it looked like hundreds.
You mean the Chicago Trumpless protest?
Yeah.
I saw the same thing. I did read the numbers earlier today. With that fire that you guys lit in me, I get hundreds of news sources in every day, so I peruse them all. And all of them had that same wide shot from the top. Is that the one that you're talking about?
Yeah, up on a building top or something like that.
Right.
That's a lot of people. I mean, does that happen often? Have there been other political candidates who have engendered such protest? I mean, yeah, I've been outside of political events where there's a handful of protesters, but I mean, there were a lot of people there.
I think that a lot of this has to do with celebrity, period, and the fact that they can say that they went to a Donald Trump rally, as well as the fact that Trump had already endeared himself to the public long before he even got there. And though they say he says what he wants to say, a lot of people are wearing, he's the shield for a lot of people in that they're coming out because he's saying what they wanted to say. And if he would have faded into the darkness, guess what? They'd sit back down in their armchairs and wouldn't say a damn thing.
Sissy, thanks for the call. Nice to hear from you again. Appreciate it tonight. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
Ian, you go to a lot of counter protesting at presidential candidate.
Not as much
things.
as I'd like, but I have done some.
You've done some. I thought that the best zinger at the Trump people was Trump should have called his Chicago rally a job fair, and none of those idiots would have shown up. What do you think? It's the old they should get a job thing.
Let's continue here. We've got Jennifer in Myrtle Beach listening to WRNN. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello. Hey, I have a hypothetical for you. If Hillary elects Bill Clinton as her vice president and she doesn't get convicted before she's elected, say she's elected, and then she gets convicted and has to go to jail, does that mean Bill Clinton's our next president?
That's a good question because
Clinton can only be he couldn't be the vice president because he has already served 2 terms. He can only serve a total of 10 years, and that's
2 terms is 8 years.
I understand 2 terms is 8 years. He could potentially be a vice president who is installed
right
after 2.5 years of a president serving, so then serving a year and a half, and then run, and then get 2 terms, and that would put in for 9.5 terms. Do you understand?
9.5 terms.
You may only serve up to 10 years. You may not serve 11 years. You may not serve 12 years. You may serve 8, 9, or 10 years.
Gotcha.
Got it?
So he could take
serve is the wrong word.
He could take the presidency, is what you're saying.
No, he cannot.
But he's only been in for 8 years.
He can't. Okay, there's no way he can become the VP because he can't be the president.
The VP isn't the president. That's
the VP is a heartbeat away from the president, and the only real qualification for being the VP is that you can then be the president. So Bill Clinton is one of the very few people in the United States that was born here that is unqualified to be the VP.
I gotta say, I'm not a political expert, okay? But didn't you just say that you can be the president for 10 years? If that's 10 years, then he's got 8 so far. If he's the VP and then Hillary gets convicted and she has to leave the office, isn't he good to go for 2 years?
No, because he could not serve out his entire term.
Well, then they just have to replace him after 2 years.
She is going to have to pick someone besides Bill Clinton. He is not qualified, and there's no lawyer in America that would let him. Okay? I don't care what a talk show host says.
Well, there's an answer for you, Jennifer. What do you think about that?
That's cool.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call tonight.
Thanks, Jennifer.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Let's go to Johnson. He's calling from our very own Keene, New Hampshire.
I'll give you this, though.
Yeah.
If the VP died after 2.5 years, then she might be able to appoint Bill for the last year and a half.
If the VP died.
Right. So
Gotcha.
let's say she appoints Biden. Biden lives 2.5 years. Sorry, Joe. And then he dies for whatever reason.
Bill
Freak
Clinton
accident, caught in a shot by a man, catch him in with his wife or whatever. And then Bill Clinton could then be appointed to serve out the last year and a half.
Okay. Go ahead, Johnson. You're on the air.
Mark for VP. I think I wanted to comment about this petition because, as you know, I'm sure you guys know that I'm friends with some of the people who have, unfortunately signed this thing. And actually, knowing some of their motives and whatnot, actually, I was thinking about signing this, actually. And not for the reasons you might think, but because this thing is so laughably poorly thought out, it's ridiculous. The effects of this, first of all...
This is, by the way, for our listeners who don't know, a petition to disassociate the Free State Project with Free Talk Live, Free Keene, and LRN.FM.
Right, from the Free State Project.
Correct.
It wouldn't prevent you from supporting the Free State Project and still thinking that it's the best solution for liberty in our lifetimes and continuing to promote it. It would free you from having to promote any of the events so that you could, say, start an event in Keene. And when you think about the fact that another activist who's been ostracized by the Free State Project is also in Keene, who has been drawing people here, it's considering these people's goals, it's just such a poorly thought out petition for what they supposedly might want. That it would be, to me, it seems like, oh, this would shunt a whole bunch of people who don't necessarily, because you're not going to get libertarians to agree in the way that you think you are if you're trying a petition like this. And so what this would do is create a schism that would drive a whole bunch more people to Keene, I think, and it would free up one of the largest draws to the Free State Project. And I'm sure there are tons and tons of existing and planning to come here Free Staters who would be much, much more likely to then choose Keene and say, well, I want to go where the not nanny stater liberty activists.
Right. Well, this is part of being true to yourself, right? Like, so there were certain people who tried to tell us behind the scenes, hey, you need to stop talking about these issues or else, we're going to keep making this worse. And, I'm not going to be silenced on the things that I believe in because it's important to be true to yourself. This is Harry Brown's silver rule. And the rule is if you are true to yourself and you sort of put it out there who you are and what you believe, that's how you attract the other people who like you and who appreciate you. Because if you adjust your personality, if you adjust your beliefs to be to go along, to get along, to be like the crowd, then you're going to attract people who aren't like you. You're going to attract people who are looking for those beliefs that you're sort of emulating, not the real you. And so it's so important to really be the true who you are so you can find the right people to come into your life. Johnson, thanks for the call tonight. We're out of time. If you didn't get on with us, don't worry. We're back tomorrow night with the live Sunday edition, which Mark is going to be heading up. He's our new head Sunday night host. Isn't that right, Mark?
That's right.
And so we'll see I don't know what we're going to talk about tonight or tomorrow night, but you can join us for it, and you can bring up anything. We'll see you tomorrow online in the meantime at freetalklive.com.
When you're coping with bad news and the news media come calling, and they will, don't clam up. As notorious political figures find out the hard way, the cover-up can be worse than the crime. So get out in front of unfavorable news about your company, your group, or organization, or yourself. The sooner you confront a negative story, the sooner it will be over. Responding as quickly to negative stories as you do to positive ones enhances your credibility. Hiding embarrassing information or lying will do more damage than damage control. Never stonewall. Tell your side of the story, use specifics, and detail what corrective action has already been taken. Respond in kind. If the issue is emotional, don't sound like a cold, unemotional Mr. Spock. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
The live edition of Off the Air Live is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
Temporarily from Castle Rock, Colorado, just south of the Mile High City, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, March 12th, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.45 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,251 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $418. Antiwar.com reports a new report from the UN Human Rights Office is accusing the U.S.-backed government of South Sudan of a series of horrific war crimes in their ongoing civil war, saying it has created one of the most horrendous human rights situations in the world. Officials say that the South Sudanese government encouraged troops and their militia allies to loot private property and rape women as a way of getting out of paying them, with the UN saying they documented 1,300 rapes in Unity State state alone over the course of 6 months. The United Nations said militias were told to do what you can and take what you can, and noted that civilians suspected of supporting the opposition were burned alive or hacked to pieces by troops, with torture and forced displacement being common. South Sudan became an independent state in 2011 and has loudly been endorsed by the U.S. ever since, with officials talking up a special relationship with the South Sudanese people. The nation quickly fell into civil war, however, and an increasingly bloody one.
For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports the head of the Washington, D.C.-based Center on Higher Education Reform, part of the American Enterprise Institute, said the crisis rhetoric surrounding student loans is overblown, and the mounting student debt just means more people are going to college and potentially adding to the national economy. Andrew Kelly said the $1.3 trillion in unpaid student loan debt that is looming large over the country may not bring the gloom and doom some economists have predicted. He told CNBC's Power Lunch it is too soon to tell if outstanding student loans will hinder further economic recovery. Student loan borrowers have been calling for reform to the education loan system as the percentage of borrowers who are 90 days or more delinquent in payments or are in default hit 11.6%. Borrowers have called on lawmakers to make changes to the system, including lowering college costs. There have been incremental changes on a local level, but little has been done at the federal level. Many are looking to the presidential candidates to alter the course of college financing. Kelly said the number of borrowers, some 43 million people, is not the problem. Instead, the problem stems from borrowers who never finish their degree and struggle to repay their loans. Kelly said they're not the people with six-figure debts that you hear about in the front page of the New York Times. They tend to be people who have very low debts who drop out before ever earning a degree.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and Numery supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.
Reuters reports an Ohio judge ruled on Friday that teenagers celebrating their 18th birthday before the November elections are entitled to have their votes for presidential nominee counted in next week's state primary. 9 teenagers from across the state claimed in a lawsuit this week that Husted's interpretation of state law that eliminated their voting rights was incorrect. The judge said his decision affected potentially thousands of other 17-year-old voters still eager to participate at next week's presidential primary. He said no Secretary of State between 1981 and 2012 had ever adopted the reading of state law he was now overturning. Husted in December modified the state's election manual to say 17-year-olds are allowed only to nominate candidates but are prohibited from voting for presidential delegates because they are elected, not nominated, according to the lawsuit. The teenager argued Husted's interpretation contradicts state law and a previous ruling by the state Supreme Court that allows 17-year-olds who will be 18 by the election to vote in the primaries. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
This is the Onion Week in Review. Thousands of outraged meth addicts urged the federal government this week to address the nation's growing spider